Chapter 51. I didn't help with the nightmare-level bone burial ground record. Shen Kuo smiled and said lightly. Hearing this, Yun Mo stopped abruptly. She subconsciously thought that Shen Kuo must have been involved in Liu Xingchi's ability to set such an exaggerated record. I never expected that such an exaggerated record was actually set by two people. Ignoring Yun Mo, who was still in a daze, Shen Kuo continued walking towards the camp gate. A dreamless night. After a simple wash, Liu Xingchi pushed open the door and saw a scene that left him speechless. Yun Mo and Zhang Heng were seen standing outside the door, one on each side, as if they were afraid that he would run away. Good morning, both of you. Seeing Liu Xingchi and Jialangxiu coming out, they hurriedly greeted them. The look in his eyes was indescribably kind, as if he was looking at the god of wealth. Good morning. Liu Xingchi was speechless, but still tried to remain polite. When the group arrived at the entrance of the camp, they found that Zhang Heng had already prepared the mounts. They were 5 tamed flaming war horses, and also the fastest means of transportation in the Greedy Wolf mercenary group. Each flaming warhorse was worth a fortune, and Shen Kuo normally was reluctant to ride one. But after riding for less than half a minute, Liu Xingchi gave up. The reason is simple: the flame warhorse is too slow and cannot compare to the mechanical spider at all. In order to get to the Lingxiu dungeon site as soon as possible, Liu Xingchi summoned 5 mechanical spiders. At first, the 3 team leaders were a little hesitant. How could a mere level 15 summoned creature be comparable to the fiery warhorse? But when they actually sat on the mechanical spider, they realized how stupid their previous ideas were. The mechanical spider moves at an astonishing speed, conservatively estimated to be 3 times faster than the flame warhorse. Not only is it fast, the mechanical spider is also very stable and can handle any terrain. Oh my god! I finally understand how the record for the Boneyard dungeon was set. Yun Mo leaned over and pressed against the back of the mechanical spider, fearing that he would be thrown off if he was not careful. The scene of Liu Xingchi riding a mechanical spider and galloping freely in the copy appeared in her mind. Zhang Heng's eyes sparkled with gold, and he asked with a smile, Brother Liu, are you going to sell this giant spider? Is there something wrong with your brain? This is a mechanical summon. How do you sell it? Shen Kuo rolled his eyes at Zhang Heng and complained without any hesitation. Hehe. I was just saying it casually. Zhang Heng was not angry and his face was full of smiles. The journey that was supposed to take half a day ended up taking less than 2 hours. Before he got close, Liu Xingchi saw an extremely large copy vortex, which was far from comparable to a burial ground. Strange, something seems wrong. Yun Mo frowned slightly and muttered softly. Zhang Heng immediately responded, you can see that there aren't so many people in the Lingxiu dungeon on normal days. Why are there so many people surrounding the outer perimeter today? As they were talking, the 5 of them had already arrived at the outskirts of the Lingxiu dungeon. Only then did I see what had happened. I saw 2 groups of people surrounding the copy station. The only entrance and exit is guarded by someone. Many people gathered near the entrance and exit, talking a lot. It was very lively. Zixuan Pavilion and Tyranny Guild, what are they planning to do? Through the badges worn by the 2 groups of people, Yun Mo quickly figured out their identities. Do you know them? Liu Xingchi frowned slightly, feeling a little unhappy. All copies in the wilderness are public resources, but I never thought that someone would occupy them. They are the 2 top guilds in the first wilderness. They have been fighting openly and secretly for many years to compete for the throne of the top guild. Shen Kuo explained patiently. Liu Xingchi stroked his chin and said calmly, how does your mercenary group compare to them? It's not a field. They make money by clearing high-level dungeons and world lords. A top-level guild of this level has at least thousands of members. Our mercenary group is not even on the same level as them. Yun Mo smiled bitterly and muttered. The guild and the mercenary group have completely different ways of survival. One relies on guiding novices through dungeons, while the other relies on clearing dungeons and selling rare materials and equipment. The wilderness is still the world of the strong, and the candidates for pre-study are just passers-by here and are not the mainstream after all. Let's go up and take a look. The mechanical spider started up again, and Liu Xing slowly approached the crowd. He had come to Lingxiu with great difficulty, and he didn't intend to return empty-handed. The crowd outside the copy involuntarily made way for each other. Many people knew Shen Kuo, Zhang Heng, and others, but no one dared to stop them. When he got near the entrance of the dungeon, he understood why people were gathering there. People from the two major guilds are actually distributing money. Anyone who comes to the Linksio copy will be given 1 million gold coins. Of course, this money is not given in vain. If you receive the money, you are not allowed to enter the Linksio copy. There are at least hundreds of people watching, and it would cost at least hundreds of millions of gold coins. As expected of a top guild, what a generous move. Zhang Heng bared his teeth. I just found out that the two major guilds are working together to capture the hell-level spirit ruins. They occupied the dungeon to save time. Yun Mo was good at socializing and quickly figured out the whole story. These two major guilds have never gotten along, but today they are joining forces to attack the dungeon. This is really rare. Shen Kuo frowned. Zhang Heng glanced at Liu Xingchi and said cautiously, if it really doesn't work, let's try again tomorrow. Liu Xingchi ignored him and went straight to the entrance of the copy. It's not so easy to keep him from entering the dungeon just for 1 million gold coins. Not to mention 1 million gold coins, even if you give him 10 million, it won't stop him from entering the Linksio copy. Stop, you can't enter the Linksio dungeon for now. The money is there, come and get it yourself. Before they could get close, a man in red armor wearing a golden dragon emblem raised his hand to block the entrance to the dungeon. He pointed casually to the mountain of gold coins lying to the side. Before Liu Xingchi could speak, another woman in a black robe wearing a purple snake badge frowned. A level 15 kid wants to get a piece of the pie too. The black-robed woman glanced at Liu Xingchi with a look of disdain on her face, and waved her hand, go away. This is not a place where you can get something for nothing. I don't want money. I'm here to challenge the Linksio copy. Liu Xingchi said in a cold voice with a calm expression. He, did I hear you right? What did he say he was here for? The black-robed woman sneered and looked at the person next to her. The red-armored man then raised his head and saw the person clearly. Damn! If you hadn't told me, I wouldn't have seen it. I almost let this guy get 1 million for nothing. But not everyone is eligible to receive the money, one must at least reach level 25. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be qualified to challenge the Linksio copy, so why would you need to pay compensation? You two, they are my friends, please give Shen some face. Shen Kuo caught up in time and stood beside Liu Xingchi. The two men guarding the entrance were about to attack when they saw Zhang Heng and Yun Mo approaching. They were not afraid of the mercenaries, they just didn't want to make a big deal out of it. Forget it. It's our bad luck. Get the money and get out of here. The purple-robed woman waved her hands, her face full of disgust. Chapter 52. I said, I'm here to challenge the Linksio dungeon. Liu Xingchi narrowed his eyes slightly and tried his best to suppress the anger in his heart. This is really a case of the top beam being crooked and the bottom beam being crooked, as can be seen from the attitudes of the two watchdogs. The two major guilds' usual style of doing things must be arrogant and domineering, and they bully others by taking advantage of their power. Don't go too far. Letting you pick up 1 million for free is already our greatest tolerance. If you continue to make trouble, you will bear the consequences yourself. The red-armored man's eyes suddenly became fierce, and his right hand slowly reached for the hilt of the sword. What if I insist on going in? Liu Xingchi did not give in, and the mechanical spider under him took 2 more steps forward. As soon as he finished speaking, the already bustling entrance of the dungeon became completely chaotic. 1 million gold coins may seem like a lot, but for professionals above level 25, it is nothing. The reason why they didn't dare to force their way into the dungeon was because they were forced by the huge power of the two major guilds. Little brother, don't be impulsive. You can't afford to offend them. That's right. A wise man never suffers a loss in front of him. Let's take the money and leave quickly. Many kind-hearted people whispered reminders out of good intentions. Liu Xingchi pretended to be deaf and looked down at the man in red armor. For a moment, the man in red armor and the woman in purple robe could not help but look at each other. They have been in the first wilderness for so long, but this is the first time they have encountered such a situation. Normally, whenever someone saw their guild emblem, they would all back away. Today, 2 top guilds have gathered together, but they never expected that someone would not give them face. What's even more infuriating is that this person is just a young boy who looks like a child. The purple-robed woman ignored Liu Xingchi and instead looked at the 3 people behind him. 3 captains, are you going to declare war on us? She subconsciously thought that a level 15 kid definitely wouldn't have the guts to do that. There must be someone behind this, so the blame was directed directly at the 3 team leaders. The three team leaders looked at each other with complicated expressions. If the three major mercenary groups join forces, they might be able to barely fight against a single top guild. But offending two major guilds at once is like hitting a rock with an egg. After a brief silence, Shen Kuo was the first to stand up. The wilderness dungeon is a public resource, not a guild's backyard. You are being too overbearing. That's right. I don't need your little money. I'm using it to pay off beggars. Immediately afterwards, Zhang Heng also stood up aggressively. He really didn't care about a mere 1 million. After all, he spent tens of millions yesterday. If the Daxia officials knew about your actions, I wonder what they would do to you. Yun Mo frowned, emitting a hint of pressure. You really want to go against us, have you thought about the consequences? Cold sweat oozed from the purple-robed woman's forehead. She bent her body slightly and assumed a fighting stance. Although the three group leaders are not as good as the president of Zixuan Pavilion, they are still much stronger than her. Fortunately, they have an absolute advantage in numbers, and once they really start fighting, they can use their numerical advantage to suppress the opponent. Why waste time talking to them? I want to see what makes them dare to challenge us. The man in red armor was obviously much more irritable and drew his sword without saying a word. He suddenly exerted force with his legs and rushed towards Liu Xingchi like an arrow. Oh! Seeing this, Liu Xingchi couldn't help but sneer. This guy has a pretty good aura, but I didn't expect him to pick me, who seems to be the weakest. It seems that he is just a cowardly person with a strong appearance. It's a pity that he really picked the wrong person. Puff! Before the red-armored man could get close, the mechanical spider suddenly spit out a silver spider web. The giant network covers a huge area and its speed is as fast as lightning. At such a close distance, the man in red armor had no way of dodge. But he was not panicked at all. How could the control skills of a mere 15th level mechanical creature trap him? Wind-breaking slash! The sword blade was wrapped in a gust of wind and slashed heavily at the silver spider web. The moment the two came into contact, the man in red armor realized something was wrong. This silver spider web is not only as heavy as a mountain, but also has strong stickiness. No matter how hard they try, they cannot shake it at all. Swish! The silver spider web shrank violently, and the man in red armor was tied up like a big dumpling. The mechanical spider waved its claws and began to close the web, slowly dragging the red-armored man towards it. The man in red armor struggled hard for a while, but found that it was completely useless. Gurgle! Looking at the mechanical spider that was getting closer and closer, and its claws that looked like sickles, he couldn't help but move his throat. He had no doubt that the mechanical spider's claws could easily penetrate his heavy armor. What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and save me! Seeing the mechanical spider so close, the man in red armor finally panicked and desperately asked for help from his guild mates. Hearing this, a dozen or so members of the Tyranny Guild nearby finally came back to their senses from their shock. They didn't dare to attack Liu Xingchi again and swarmed around the man in red armor. They didn't dare to touch the silver spider web, so they could only grab the red-armored man's head, the only part that was exposed. One person can't pull it, and two people still can't pull it. The mechanical spider remained as steady as a rock, slowly retrieving its web. The strength attribute of more than 50,000 points is not fake. Eventually, a dozen or so guild members, one after another, dragged the red-armored man's head back as if playing tug-of-war. The man in red armor felt as if his head was about to break off, and heard a series of bone-breaking sounds from his neck. Even so, they still couldn't shake the mechanical spider at all. For a moment, all the onlookers were stunned. There are many warriors with special strength among these dozen people, but they are unable to do anything to a level 15 summoned creature. Click! Liu Xingchi was a little bored. With a thought, the mechanical spider waved its hand and cut off the connecting spider silk. More than a dozen people including the man in red armor suddenly flew backwards and were all knocked unconscious. Liu Xingchi glanced at the purple-robed woman and asked, "Can I go in now?" "Of course, please come in." The purple-robed woman changed her arrogant expression and lowered her proud head. The people in Zixuan Pavilion did not dare to stop them and made way for them. The two major guilds did not mobilize too many people for this operation. Altogether there are only more than 200 people. Even if we gather them all together, I'm afraid we won't get any benefit. This mechanical spider is so terrifying that if 5 of them attack together, they may not be their match. Little did people know that Liu Xingchi had a total of 100 mechanical spiders and 200 mechanical hounds. Not to mention just over 200 people, he would not be afraid even if two major guilds attacked together. Ignoring the astonished crowd, Lu Xingchi controlled the mechanical spider and stepped into the entrance of the Lingxiu copy. Jialangxiu, Shen Kuo and others quickly followed. Only when the group disappeared from sight did the onlookers come to their senses. Oh my god, this is so cool! I don't want money, I want to go in and take a look too. Right. Why don't you let us in? The dungeon isn't run by your family. With the lessons learned from the past, many people have become bolder. They threw their purses back and rushed towards the entrance of the copy. For a moment, the entrance to Lingxiu was in chaos, and the two major guilds could no longer control the situation. Chapter 53. Damn, who is this kid? The purple-robed woman clenched her fists and her silver teeth were almost broken. This was the first time he had been in such a mess since he joined Zixuan Pavilion and became a guild steward. Master Deacon, what should we do now? A guild member stepped forward and asked cautiously. The purple-robed woman glanced at him and said coldly, what else can we do? Follow them and see. She finally realized that she couldn't afford to offend Lu Xingchi and others. I can only hope that the president won't blame me. Upon seeing this, the members of the Tyranny Guild stopped guarding the entrance and headed towards the core area of the dungeon. Lu Xingchi and others moved at an astonishing speed. It originally took about 10 minutes to get from the entrance to the copy vortex. But with the help of the mechanical spider, they reached the core area in just 3 minutes. Before they got close, they could vaguely hear the sound of a fierce argument. Xiun, what do you mean? Who told you to use the copy teleportation talisman? Long Cheng, if I don't use it, we will all die there today. Bullshit, I only have half of my energy left, how could I die? You can't die, but you should pay more attention to your teammates. In front of the vortex of the copy, two people wearing gorgeous equipment were arguing fiercely. Except for the two of them, the rest of the team members looked pale and were frantically pouring recovery potions into their mouths. In order to challenge the hell-level Lingxiu copy, the two major guilds have sent out their best troops. The two presidents and vice presidents, plus a rare priest profession, make up an elite team of 5 people. Hearing this, Long Cheng finally noticed the situation of his teammates and his expression became serious. He is a rare knight profession, possessing extremely high health and defense, and with the full protection of a priest, there is naturally no big problem. But the teammates suffered. If Xiun had not used the copy teleportation talisman in time, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Once someone in the team dies, it means the whole team is not far from being wiped out. Damn it, it was just that little bit short. Long Cheng clenched his fists and roared. Take your time. The difficulty of the hell-level spirit ruins is too high. It is already quite difficult for us to meet the Lord. Ziyun sighed helplessly, if I try a few more times, it's only a matter of time before I pass the level. The special potion is effective for 24 hours, so they must clear the hell-level Lingxiu today. If they fail, they will not only have to wait until the week period is over, but also have to prepare special potions and copy teleportation talismans again. Challenging a hell-level spiritual ruins not only consumes a huge amount of resources, but also takes a lot of time. The cost is not small. Xiun, are you really sure that you can get that thing from the hell-level Lingxiu first pass treasure chest? Long Cheng asked with a serious expression. Ziyun nodded slightly, her attitude very affirmative, of course, otherwise I would not cooperate with you. Who? A mechanical roar was heard in the distance, and the two presidents responded at the same time. Looking in the direction where the sound came from, the leader was a strange man, but the people behind him were old acquaintances. A bunch of useless people, they can't even guard the gate. Long Cheng frowned and couldn't help cursing. Mercenary group. Ziyun was also confused and whispered, who are those two people? They were accompanied by the 3 top mercenary leaders. No matter where he comes from, I'm not afraid of anyone in the first wilderness area. Long Cheng smiled contemptuously and didn't take the 3 captains seriously at all. Although the Tyranny Guild and the 3 major mercenary groups usually do not interfere with each other, he still disdains the mercenary groups. The mercenary group often hangs out in level 15 and 20 dungeons all year round, relying on pre-students and rookies to make money, with almost no risk to their lives. The Tyranny Guild is mainly active in level 25 dungeons, and sometimes they also attack world lords. It can be said that they are walking on the edge of a knife. There is a world of difference between the two. In Long Cheng's eyes, the mercenary group is just a group of opportunistic guys. Be careful, there are some families that we cannot afford to offend. Xiun was a cautious person and gave a reminder. In the first isolation zone, no one's level is above level 30, so they are really not afraid of anyone. But they didn't stay in the wilderness forever, there would always be a time to return to Daxia. Don't worry, I know my limits. Long Cheng nodded. Not long after, a group led by Lu Xingchi arrived at the copy vortex. Lu Xingchi could tell at a glance who was the president among the 5 people. There was no way. The equipment of the 2 presidents was too conspicuous. They emitted a faint fluorescence even in broad daylight. The equipment worn by the 2 presidents are all rare quality equipment, and their weapons are even excellent purple weapons. Excellent quality only appears in purple equipment, but it is more powerful than rare purple equipment. The equipment of the 3 group leaders is already quite good, but compared with the 2 presidents, there is still a big gap. The 2 groups looked at each other, and the atmosphere seemed a little awkward. What a rare guest! I didn't expect your mercenary group's business has expanded to Lingxiu. Xiun spoke first, breaking the strange silence. President Zi, please forgive me for making fun of you. It's just some small business. Please forgive me if I'm offended. Yun Mo took 2 steps forward and came to the side of Lu Xingchi and Jie Langxiu. That's fine, please do as you please. As he spoke, Xiun took the initiative to make way. Long Cheng felt a little unhappy, but didn't say much. It is better to have less trouble than more. Anyway, one team entering the dungeon will not affect their challenge of the hell level Lingxiu. Thank you very much. Yun Mo clasped his fists slightly. Lu Xingchi took the lead and walked towards the copy vortex, and the others followed closely behind. Be careful. If it doesn't work, remember to use the copy teleportation talisman. Shen Kuo whispered. Good. Nodding slightly, Lu Xingchi put his hand into the copy vortex. A copy of the information screen appeared before my eyes. Instance, links you recommended level 2530 instance difficulty, normal, difficult, nightmare, hell. Since there is a hell level, Lu Xingchi naturally chose the highest difficulty without hesitation. You have selected the hell level difficulty, please confirm whether to transfer. Yes. Suddenly, the vortex in the copy emitted a dark purple light, and the 2 of them disappeared from the spot in an instant. The purple light is unique to the hell level copy. What's going on? Am I dazzled? Long Cheng looked at the purple light rising into the sky and looked at the person next to him with a puzzled look. Xiun was also confused, and she even wondered if she had seen it wrong. Both of them thought that Lu Xingchi came to Lingxiu to upgrade, and at most he was just challenging a difficult level. But unexpectedly, Lu Xingchi actually came here for the hell level copy. That would have been fine, but 2 of them actually went in, while the 3 team leaders were left outside. Chapter 54. You'd better give me a reasonable explanation. Xiun narrowed her eyes slightly, like a poisonous snake spitting out its tongue, revealing a hint of coldness. Oh. We don't know what happened. Those 2 were newbies and went in before they even formed a team. Shen Kuo scratched his head and pretended to be innocent. Zhang Heng quickly agreed, that's right, that's too rash. Oh. I guess I'll have to waste a copy teleportation talisman. Yun Mo also understood what he meant and sighed. Humph. I don't even need to estimate that. I'm definitely going to waste a teleportation talisman. Long Chensin believed it and acted like he was enjoying the show. I have to say that your mercenary group is too unprofessional to let that unreliable kid be the captain. Yes, yes, yes. You are right. This is our mistake. Zhang Heng did not argue and nodded repeatedly. Shen Kuo on the side stopped talking and just had a stern face. Because he was afraid that he would accidentally laugh out loud if he spoke. Without staying in front of the copy vortex for long, the 3 of them casually found a shady place nearby to rest. Something is wrong. Xiun looked solemn and murmured softly. What's wrong? Long Cheng was a little confused. They are all professional mercenaries. It's okay if one of them makes a mistake occasionally, but how is it possible that all 3 of them make mistakes at the same time? Ziyun frowned and expressed his doubts. Hehe, you're thinking too much. Could it be that they are heading for the ruins of hell? Long Cheng couldn't help laughing out loud, thinking that this woman was being too cautious. What a joke, the 5 of them formed a team and almost died in the ruins of hell. How could these 2 level 15 imps have the guts to challenge the ruins of hell? Maybe I'm overthinking. Xiun thought about it carefully and decided to get rid of the outrageous idea in her mind. Not long after, there was a commotion not far away, and a group of people were seen rushing towards this side. What on earth are those idiots doing? It's okay to let the mercenaries in, but why did they let these bastards in? Long Cheng's eyes were blazing with anger and he cursed viciously. Xiaoyun frowned, waved her hand and summoned her magic wand, and said coldly, "We can't let them get close, otherwise we don't know when we can pass through the Hell Ruins. The reason for blocking the copy is just to improve the efficiency of the challenge. Otherwise, if you are always queuing, you may not be able to complete the dungeon many times a day. Not to mention the time cost, you also have to buy special potions again, which costs a huge amount of gold coins. Leave it to me. If I don't teach them a lesson, they will think I am a vegetarian." Long Cheng slowly raised his hand and lifted the thunder hammer on his back. I saw him suddenly jump up, and this jump was more than 10 meters high. With the thunder hammer held high in both hands, the violent lightning was still dazzling in the daytime. Boom! Like a falling comet, the thunder hammer smashed heavily into the ground, and a violent shock wave exploded. The shock wave was accompanied by a powerful thunderstorm, which blew away all the people who tried to get close. At the same time, Xiun finished chanting, and a gorgeous magic circle bloomed behind her. Boom boom! I saw a dark purple wall of fire quickly spreading out, stretching for hundreds of meters. The blazing flames were so eerie that people dared not approach them at all. The warhammer and poisonous flames were like a natural barrier that isolated everyone from outside. You don't even want to give me face, but you force me to take action. Long Cheng carried the warhammer and his roar was like thunder. The two presidents joined forces, and no one dared to challenge them, and they all took a few steps back. After a while, people from Zixuan Pavilion and Battle Guild also caught up. They also briefly recounted what happened at the entrance of the copy. What? Long Cheng and Xiaoyun exclaimed at the same time. A level 15 imp can actually suppress a level 28 warrior. Damn it, it looks like we've been fooled. As he spoke, Long Cheng's face was gloomy and he walked towards the three captains with a menacing look. Xiaoyun stopped him and said in a serious tone, "Those two little devils are not simple. We can't waste any more time. We must complete the dungeon before them." After hesitating for a while, Long Cheng stopped. "I'll settle the score with you later." Long Cheng snorted coldly, then quickly walked towards the copy vortex. The other three team members were still meditating, and their spirits and energy had not yet fully recovered. However, seeing that the two presidents had already set off, they could only quickly follow. The people from Zixuan Pavilion and Battle Guild stared at the three captains, as if they were afraid that they would run away. This isn't good. We've gone a little overboard this time. Zhang Heng stroked his chin and muttered softly. Shen Kuo glanced at him and said coldly, "Why, are you scared? It's not too late to quit now. I'm not afraid of anything. At worst I can fight them. What's the big deal?" Zhang Heng crossed his arms across his chest, looking ready to die. Once the arrow is shot, there is no turning back. If Brother Lu can take the lead in getting the first pass, perhaps there will be a chance for a turnaround. Yun Mo remained calm throughout, silently thinking about how to deal with the situation. 10 minutes had passed since Lu Xingchi and Jiulangxiu entered Lingxiu. The two walked in an abandoned ancient ruins, and mottled and decayed runes could be seen on the ruins. The ruins have been abandoned for a long time and have long since merged with the thriving plants. The surroundings are filled with primitive atmosphere, and the vast greenery engulfs the ancient civilization. Perhaps influenced by the ancient ruins, the plants nearby grew abnormally lush and their sizes were astonishingly large. The air is filled with an ancient and mysterious atmosphere, which makes people feel depressed and uneasy. Crunch! 10 mechanical hounds led the way, and Lu Xingchi led the mechanical spiders following closely behind. The ancient ruins were much larger than he had imagined, and he had not encountered any monsters after walking for 10 minutes. He had read the strategy manual given by Yun Mo before, and he also knew the basic situation of the Lingxiu copy, so he was not surprised. The monster mechanism in the Lingxiu dungeon is extremely unique and they will not wander around. Here it comes. Jiulangxiu's eyes flashed with golden light and she reminded softly. Divine perception has the ability to sense danger in advance, and she subconsciously looked at the surrounding murals. Lu Xingchi looked in the direction and noticed that the blurry mural was actually moving. Hee hee. Strange laughter came from all directions, and the broken ancient walls began to tremble slightly. A strange-looking monster with short stature and fox-like facial features crawled out from the mural. Their fur is dark brown and they have a cunning gleam in their eyes. The strange thing is that it holds a dead wood staff in its hand and has a human-like smile on its lips. Xingchi opened the Eye of Truth and scanned the monster's information: Meerkat Mage, Mutation, Level, 25 Strength, 230 Intelligence, 18,800 Agility, 8,000 Physique, 12,000 Skills, Fireball, Fire Ring. Chapter 55. The first monster encountered was a mutant monster with frighteningly high attributes. These are just small monsters. It is hard to imagine how terrifying the elites and lords behind them are. No wonder no one has broken through the hell level Lingxiu for such a long time. However, Xingchi was unusually calm, and looked at the two monsters that rushed out of the mural one after another. One of the common monsters is called the Armored Badger, and the other mutated monster is called the Spirit Ape Shooter. The Armored Hog Badger has a sturdy build, covered in heavy armor, and has a pair of bloodshot eyes that make it look extremely ferocious. As an ordinary monster, its attributes are not as good as those of the Meerkat Mage, except that its physical fitness reaches 16,000. At the same time, Armored Hog Badgers are the largest monsters. They cannot speak human language and can only rush forward. Another mutant monster is called the Monkey Archer. It has a slender body, golden fur, and bright and alert eyes. Like human archers, monkey archers also have extremely high agility, reaching an astonishing 18,000. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of monsters walked out of the ancient murals. The monsters were distributed in a very disorderly manner and soon surrounded Xingchi and Jiangxiu. He, someone's coming again. The meerkat wizard spoke in human language, making a sharp and piercing noise that continued to echo in the ruins. Looking at the large number of monsters, Xingchi couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth. These monsters are all experience points, so the more the better. Hulu hulu. Hundreds of armored hog badgers roared excitedly at the same time. It dug the ground with its hind legs to gather strength and suddenly rushed towards Xingchi. The armored hog badger had incredible strength, and the gravel on the ground was bouncing slightly. A group fight, huh? I've never been afraid of anyone. Xingchi sneered and snapped his fingers lightly. 200 mechanical hounds and 100 mechanical spiders appeared at the same time. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The mechanical spiders surrounded Xingchi and fired a volley of shots at him. Hundreds of death rays combined to form a 360-degree firepower network with no blind spots. Under such a ferocious attack, the armored badgers fell one after another. Kill the armored badger and gain 22400 experience points. Obtain rare materials, wild hard leather *1. Kill the armored badger and gain 22400 experience points. As expected of a level 25 hell dungeon, the experience points of ordinary monsters exceeded 20,000. The progress of the two people's experience bars is skyrocketing at a speed visible to the naked eye. This was only the first wave of monsters they encountered, and there were 4 more waves to come. If I can get the first pass, I can definitely reach level 16 today. Damn humans, kill them. When the meerkat wizard saw his companions being killed, he raised his staff in anger. Dozens of other mutant monsters also raised their weapons. Suddenly, fireballs and arrows filled the sky, attacking from all directions. This group of mutated monsters were quite intelligent. They ignored the mechanical army in the front and instead attacked Xingchi directly. The mechanical spider can only change direction and spray sticky spider webs to block most attacks. However, the sticky spider web is not a defensive skill after all, and it cannot block all attacks. A small number of arrows penetrated the gaps in the spider web and shot rapidly towards Xingchi. Xingchi first turned on static concealment, and then controlled the mechanical spider to dodge continuously. The mechanical spider's agility attribute reaches more than 20,000, and is close to 30,000 with the blessing of light. This is far beyond the Monkey King Archer, and it is impossible to be hit if you pay the slightest attention. Hey, when will I get defensive skills? Xingchi felt a little depressed. With a little defensive skill and the super strong enhancement of the Rubik's Cube, he doesn't have to hide all the time. But it should be soon. After all, he already has attack and control skills, and it is very likely that he will be able to comprehend defense skills at level 20. When the meerkat wizard saw Xingchi suddenly disappear, a look of human-like confusion appeared on his face. After realizing what was happening, he shouted, "The despicable human has gone invisible, everyone be careful, call out." As soon as the meerkat wizard finished speaking, several death rays hit it. With the blessing of light, the mechanical spider's power reached 60,000, instantly killing the meerkat wizard. Without waiting for the mutant monsters to come to their senses, the mechanical spider began to kill crazily. Kill the meerkat mage and gain 52,000 experience points. Obtain rare materials. Staff Embryo 1. Kill the fox shooter and gain 52,000 experience points. Obtain rare materials. Longbow Embryo 1. Weapon Embryo, this is a good thing. Xingchi looked at the increasing number of rare embryos in his temporary backpack and couldn't help but have his eyes sparkling. This weapon embryo is the core material of handmade purple weapon. I didn't expect to get so much at once. But it's normal, as it's the most difficult wilderness dungeon at level 25. If there were no matching rewards, there wouldn't be so many people coming forward to do it. The battle entered a fierce state, and the mechanical army had the upper hand throughout. The slow-moving meerkat mages were the first to be wiped out, and the monkey archers relied on their nimble movements to keep two of them moving among the ruins. Xingchi no longer remained invisible, and the desert eagle continued to spit out tongues of fire. Unexpectedly, the last two monkey shooters were also blown to pieces by the explosive bombs. Not long after, the largest number of armored badgers finally fell under the claws of the mechanical hounds. This Lingxiu is really a good place. Not to mention the high amount of experience, 8 weapon embryos exploded at once. Xingchi touched his nose and felt very happy. Level 25 handmade equipment, the lowest quality is rare purple equipment, and there is even a very small chance of producing excellent quality equipment. Almost every raw embryo is a treasure, and no one will sell it in the trading house. It's a pity that Xingchi probably won't be able to use these weapon prototypes. He obtained the weapons through deduction and can perfectly replicate them with just the weapon design drawings. Captain, the guide says that destroying the murals in advance can weaken the monster's levels. Lingxiu took out the strategy manual that Yun Mo gave her yesterday and read it carefully. Yun Mo spent a lot of money to get this guide, but it only contains information about small monster levels and elite levels. Weaken the monster level. Xingchi shook his head and said loudly, wouldn't that mean our experience would also decrease? Wouldn't it be meaningless for us to come here? That's right. Lingxiu nodded. In that case, this strategy is useless. It's still somewhat useful. At least it marks all the monster spots, so we don't have to search everywhere. As he spoke, Xingchi controlled the mechanical spider and continued to move towards the depths of the ancient ruins. Since we have finally come to the Hell Dungeon, we naturally cannot give up on any monster. I have to say that the strategy given by Yun Mo is still very accurate, and the danger levels of the 5 mural sites are also divided. The purpose of the copy guide is mainly to help challengers avoid unnecessary dangers. If the maker of the strategy guide knew that Xingchi used the strategy guide in reverse, he would probably be so angry that he would ascend to heaven. There are a total of 5 mural sites in the entire Lingxiu ruins, which are ordinary checkpoints. You only need to challenge 3 places to unlock the next area barrier. However, Xingchi visited all of them and completed all 5 levels. The final harvest was also considerable. Not only did the experience increase by about 30%, but more than 30 weapon embryos were also obtained. These weapon embryos are extremely rich in variety, including almost all the mainstream weapons of the 8 major professions. Chapter 56. After the 5th mural disappeared, Xingchi reluctantly went to the elite level. After passing through a long corridor, the two arrived at the dilapidated hall. According to the guide, this is the elite level of the Lingxiu dungeon. There are blurred murals on both sides of the hall, and a giant stone sculpture of a wolf stands in the center of the temple. Without much observation, Xingchi swaggered into the dilapidated hall. Click, click, click. The giant wolf stone sculpture vibrated violently, and the rock surface quickly fell off. A powerful pressure spread out, causing the entire hall to tremble violently. Roar! With a violent roar like thunder, the giant wolf completely broke free from its restraints. This is a giant wolf with a huge body and a silver-white body. His eyes were as cold as the moon, and he exuded a strong smell of blood. If Xingchi had not read the guide in advance, he would have mistakenly thought that this was the final lord. Immediately open the Eye of Truth and scan the monster data. Silver Moon Wolf, Strengthened Elite, Level, 25 Strength, 21,000 Intelligence, 12,000 Agility, 27,000 Physique, 23,000 Skills, Charge, Roar, Frenzy, Bloody Storm Hiss. Xingchi couldn't help but gasp when he saw the speed of the Silver Moon Wolf. The properties of this Silver Moon Wolf are truly amazing, and its agility is almost approaching that of the mechanical spider. However, after seeing the Enhanced Elite logo, he nodded thoughtfully. The Enhanced Elite has another name, called Little Lord, whose strength is not much worse than that of a real lord. Captain, are we going to destroy the mural? Jialangxiu glanced at the murals on both sides with an extremely serious expression. The guide clearly states that during the battle, the six-eared demon bat in the mural will rush out of the mural. The six-eared demon bat is a mutant elite. Although its attributes are not as good as the Silver Moon Wolf, there are 10 of them. Their attack method is similar to that of the Howling Ghouls, which is also a sonic-type attack, and there is almost no way to avoid it. No, you help me with the treatment, I can handle it. Liu Xingchi shook his head and said in a deep voice. It's not that he is arrogant, but Liu Xingchi is fully confident in his own strength. Quantum Link can reduce the damage by 300 times, not to mention 10 six-eared demon bats, even twice as many will be no problem. Not only that, Liu Xingchi also discovered a key problem. During his exploration just now, he tried to destroy the murals. The monster level was indeed weakened, but the item drop rate was directly reduced. There were more than a dozen weakened monsters, but not a single weapon embryo dropped. It can be seen that taking shortcuts will not only reduce experience points, but also affect the item explosion rate. Okay, leave it to me. Jialangxiu nodded slightly and her eyes became serious. The blessing of light fell on Liu Xingchi again, and the attributes of the mechanical creation soared by 30%. Immediately afterwards, a holy light spread out and enveloped Liu Xingchi. Go to hell! The Silver Moon Wolf spoke in human language and rushed over as a shadow. The mechanical spider took the initiative to protect its master and fired a series of death rays. Faced with the death ray, the Silver Moon Wolf showed no concern at all and didn't even try to dodge. Because in its eyes, the mechanical spider's attributes are pitifully low and there is no need to dodge at all. Boom! The death ray hit the Silver Moon Wolf hard and blew it away. With a strength attribute of nearly 60,000, the Silver Moon Wolf could not withstand it at all, and its charge skill was forcibly interrupted. Kill! Without giving the Silver Moon Wolf time to react, Liu Xingchi issued the order to kill. The 200 mechanical hounds surrounding him rushed out at lightning speed. Although its size is not as big as the Silver Moon Wolf, its four-dimensional attributes are completely overwhelming. If it wasn't a hell-level monster with an astonishing physical transformation rate, it would have been killed instantly. In just a dozen seconds, the Silver Moon Wolf was already covered in wounds, and its snow-white fur was stained red with blood. Roar! The Silver Moon Wolf roared toward the sky, activating its second skill. The roar was like rolling waves, shaking all the surrounding mechanical hounds away. There was a layer of bloodshot light wrapped around his eyes, and his aura surged a lot. Through the Eye of Truth, Liu Xingchi discovered that the Silver Moon Wolf's agility attribute had increased by 1.5 times, and the other three-dimensional attributes had also increased by 30%. But before it could make any move, a huge silver net hit its left paw accurately. Then, hundreds of giant nets attacked from all directions. The Silver Moon Wolf was firmly bound by the silver spider web and was completely unable to move. At some point, mechanical spiders had spread to every corner of the ruined hall, even the dome of the hall was full of mechanical spiders. It's really strong, but it's a pity that you ran into me. The corners of Liu Xingchi's mouth rose slightly, and the Desert Eagle was wrapped in a layer of flames. He just pulled the trigger frantically, and a series of explosive bombs shot out. Boom! Hundreds of mechanical spiders launched an attack simultaneously, and the dim and dilapidated hall was suddenly filled with flames. The Silver Moon Wolf's health is decreasing at an incredible rate. At about 50%, the murals on both sides finally showed some movement. 10 six-eared demon bats rushed out of the mural, their skin was dark purple and their eyes flashed an evil red light. The six-eared demon bat opened its huge mouth and emitted a burst of ultrasonic attack, which formed a visible vibration wave in the air. Unlike the howl of terror, the sonic attack of the six-eared demon bat has no control effect, but the damage is even more terrifying. Even with 300 times the damage reduction, Liu Xingchi's health was still dropping rapidly. Healing spell. Jialangxiu was already prepared, an array of healing holy light slowly fell. The speed at which Liu Xingchi's blood volume decreases is less than 1/10 of the treatment amount. Noisy. Liu Xingchi frowned slightly, raised his hand and instantly killed a six-eared demon bat above his head. Most mutant elites have serious specialization bias, and the six-eared demon bat is no exception. The remaining 9 six-eared demon bats were quickly annihilated in the fire net woven by the death rays. Kill the six-eared demon bat and gain 98,000 experience points. Obtain the outstanding treasure, Critical Strike Orb, level 25. Kill the six-eared demon bat and gain 98,000 experience points. Obtain the outstanding treasure, Orb of Power, level 25. Kill the six-eared demon bat and gain 98,000 experience points. Obtain the outstanding treasure, Intellectual Orb, level 25. It's actually a critical hit orb. Jialangxiu couldn't help but exclaim. Xingchi then noticed the items in the temporary backpack and asked curiously, are these critical strike gems very valuable? This knowledge is something that should only be learned in college classes and will never be covered in high school classes. However, Jialangxiu has an extraordinary family background, and she is influenced by her surroundings on a daily basis, so naturally her knowledge is much broader. Chapter 57. Of course, the Orb of Excellence is a treasure, and the Orb of Critical Strike is even more precious. Jialangxiu nodded heavily, very excited. Orbs can be embedded in equipment to improve equipment attributes, but only equipment above level 25 can be embedded. Orbs are also divided into different qualities. The lowest level is the Common Orb, followed by the Rare Orb, and then the Excellent Orb. The higher the quality of the gem, the greater the attribute improvement brought by inlaying. It looks like a good thing, but it's a pity that it can only be used at level 25. Xingchi let out a long sigh. Challenging higher levels is good in every way, except that the results are seriously lagging. In the future, the hidden talents of the Wuji Rubik's Cube will be further improved, and I am afraid that challenging higher level players will become commonplace. Don't think too much about it. The bridge will be straight when it reaches the front. Xingchi shook his head and his gaze fell on the Silver Moon Wolf again. The Silver Moon Wolf was firmly bound by the sticky spider web and became a sitting duck. He was unable to even unleash his strongest skills, and ultimately collapsed in a pool of blood. Kill the Silver Moon Wolf and gain 133,000 experience points. Obtain excellent materials, Warcraft Crystal Core. Obtain the excellent weapon, Silver Moon Saber. Obtain the excellent Strengthening Stone. Excellent purple weapon, excellent Strengthening Stone, Magic Beast Crystal Core. Jialangxiu looked at the trophy in front of her with a dazed expression. These are all rare treasures, and taking out any one of them would cause an uproar. Although Xingchi didn't feel much, but seeing Jialangxiu's big reaction, he naturally knew that these were treasures. It's good, but it's a pity that no equipment suitable for us was dropped. Xingchi stroked his chin and murmured. Jialangxiu curled her lips and said softly, what does it matter? With these treasures, are you still afraid that no one will exchange them with you for the level 15 rare blue equipment? Using level 25 purple equipment to exchange for level 15 blue equipment is simply a dimensionality reduction attack. Of course it's definitely not a one-for-one exchange. At least one should be exchanged for 4 to avoid being at a disadvantage. If you want to change to level 20 equipment, you have to change at least 2 pieces. 2. Xingchi smiled and nodded, it's just a little troublesome, and it's easy to attract the covetousness of others. We are too low level. Doing this would be too conspicuous and inefficient. Jialangxiu frowned, as if she had thought of something, and suggested, we can ask Shen Kuo and others to help. That's a good idea. I'll discuss it with them after we get out. Without staying in the ruined hall for long, Xingchi walked deeper into Lingxiu. Half an hour later, the two finally reached the end of the Lingxiu ruins. I thought it would be a palace, but it turned out to be a round platform. This platform is made of bones and stones, revealing an indescribable weirdness. A strange stone statue, more than 10 meters tall and with 8 arms, stands in the center of the platform. Even though the stone seal has not been lifted yet, one can still feel the violent pressure, which makes people dare not despise it. It's so high. Jialangxiu stood on the edge of the platform, only poked her head out to take a look and then stepped back. There is a bottomless abyss below the platform. If you fall down, you will probably be smashed to pieces. Without easily entering the boss's territory, Xingchi opened the Eye of Truth and scanned the Lord's information. 8-armed demonic ape, Lord, level, 25 strength, 32,000 intelligence, 13,200 agility, 28,000 physique, 33,000 skills, violent punch, boulder throwing, power frenzy, earth-shattering. It is no exaggeration to say that this is the strongest Lord Xingchi has ever seen. Not only are the attributes extremely exaggerated, but the skills are also quite tricky. The most troublesome thing is the terrain. If you are not careful, you can easily fall off the cliff. This guy is quite fierce. Xingchi grinned. Jialangxia was also scanning the information and nodded in agreement. No wonder no one has passed the hell-level spirit ruins in all these years. Xingchi first let the mechanical hound act as the vanguard and step onto the platform. The petrified demon ape did not move unusually, so Xingchi stepped onto the platform with confidence. There was no rush to provoke the Lord, but all the mechanical creations were released first. 100 spiders are evenly distributed around the circular platform to prevent Xingchi from being shaken off the platform. After everything was ready, Xingchi slowly raised the Desert Eagle in his hand. A frost bullet shot out from the gun barrel silently and hit the 8-armed demon ape. Roar! Before he could fire a second shot, the 8-armed demon ape was instantly unpetrified and rushed towards him like a madman. The 8-armed demon ape had such a terrifying aura that Xingchi felt as if a mountain was crashing towards him. Not only that, 8 powerful arms were waving wildly, and the wind from their fists was whistling. If it gets hit, even if it doesn't die, it will probably be knocked away. Xingchi made a prompt decision and did not continue attacking, but immediately went into hiding. The mechanical spider under the seat also became invisible, narrowly avoiding the violent punch. Roar! After losing its target, the 8-armed demon ape angrily beat its chest, causing a thunderous sound. Only at this time did Xingchi see its true appearance. The 8-armed demon ape is huge and muscular, with hair like the veil of night, a ferocious face and towering horns. The 4 pairs of strong forelimbs with extremely sharp claws and the hind limbs are strong and powerful, which makes people intimidated. All of you, come together. Xingchi went around behind the 8-armed demon ape and began to control the mechanical army. 200 mechanical hounds took the lead in the charge, and the sound of their iron hooves hitting the ground was like a violent storm. They were like ghosts in the dark night, moving flexibly across the battlefield and dodging the heavy punches of the 8-armed demon ape time and time again. Their agility attribute of nearly 60,000 makes them as fast as lightning, and no matter how powerful the 8-armed demon ape is, it is useless. Soon, the first batch of mechanical hounds successfully approached the 8-armed demon ape and easily climbed onto its body with nimble steps. The sharp steel claws moved at an extremely fast speed, accompanied by the sound of breaking wind, and easily cut through the 8-armed demon ape's stone-like skin. The 8-armed demon ape felt pain and reached out to grab the mechanical hound on its body. But with the mechanical hound's amazing speed, how could it succeed? Roar! After trying for a long time, the 8-armed demon ape failed to catch a single mechanical hound and beat his chest in anger. At the same time, the mechanical spider also began to attack frantically. The death ray was like the cold scythe of the god of death, ruthlessly reaping the life of the demon ape. Even a large number of ants can swallow an elephant, let alone the fact that the mechanical army is not ants. Their attributes are not much worse than those of the 8-armed demon ape. The health of the 8-armed demon ape is decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Seeing that it could not do anything to the nimble mechanical hound, the demon ape could only vent its anger on the mechanical spider. I saw the 8-armed demon ape picked up a huge rock and threw it out. The huge rocks were like cannonballs, producing bursts of sonic booms, with a terrifying power. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. All the mechanical spiders changed direction and concentrated their fire with hundreds of death rays, blasting the boulder into pieces. Chapter 58. Roar! The 8-armed demon ape was completely enraged, and a burning demon pattern appeared on its chest. The third skill, Power Frenzy. The muscles all over the body grew rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the body size also increased a lot. Scanning with the eye of truth, it was discovered that the 8-armed demon ape's power had doubled, reaching an exaggerated 60,000. However, its defense has been reduced by half, and its health is plummeting at an exaggerated rate. Everyone, go to hell! The sky will collapse and the earth will break. The 8 arms were raised high like muscular hammers. The sky changed strangely at this moment, thunder rumbled in the dark clouds, like a whale. Xingchi had no doubt that once it used this move, even if it didn't die, it would probably be knocked out of the battlefield. Don't forget that there are cliffs thousands of feet high all around. Once you are shaken out of the battlefield, it will be tantamount to death. Trap him! Xingchi no longer remained invisible, and a series of frost bullets burst out of his chest. The movements of the 8-armed demon ape were slowed down dozens of times, and its arms raised high could not fall down for a long time. The mechanical spider shot out sticky spider webs at the same time, tightly binding the arms of the 8-armed demon ape. The frost bullet lasts for 10 seconds, and he must kill it within 10 seconds. Output at full strength. At the command, all mechanical creations opened fire at full power. The death rays were like a torrential rain, pouring down madly on the 8-armed demon ape. Because its defense was halved, the 8-armed demon ape's health dropped at an extremely fast rate. Seeing that the duration was almost up, Xingchi made a prompt decision and launched his final killing move. Mechanical detonation. The 5 mechanical hounds emitted shrill alarm sounds and exploded almost the moment the 8-armed demon ape resumed action. A dazzling white light burst out, and the 8-armed demon ape, with only 5% of its health left, was completely destroyed in the explosion. Kill the 8-armed demon ape and gain 240,000 experience points. Obtain a special item, the Holy Key. Obtain the excellent weapon, Demon Slaying Dagger. Obtain excellent equipment, Demon Slayer Armor. Obtain rare material, Phantom Dust. Congratulations on your first clearance of the Hell level Spirit Ruins. All rewards will be doubled. Congratulations on your level upgrade, current level is LV16. What a great harvest! Xingchi was in a very good mood as he looked at the dazzling array of trophies. This Hell level Spiritual Ruins is the right place. Not only is the experience high, but the loot is also extremely valuable. The Holy Key, there really is such a thing. Xingxi's focus was a little different. She stared at the special items in the temporary backpack and couldn't help but be dazed. Hearing this, Xingchi also noticed the anomaly among the spoils, the secret key of the Holy One. Generally, there will be introductions for loot, but the introduction column for this special item is blank. Schwerer, is there anything special about this holy secret key? Xingchi asked hurriedly. Xingxi looked solemn. I heard the elders in my family mention it. It seems to involve some legendary secret realm, but I don't know the details. Oh? This is an unexpected gain. Xingchi nodded thoughtfully, as if remembering something. Could it be that the 2 major guilds joined forces just for this thing? It is very likely. Otherwise, there would be no need to spend such a huge price, even at the cost of violating the ban, to get the first pass to the Hell level Xingchi. Xingxi nodded and agreed. Unfortunately, man proposes, God disposes. We still got the upper hand. Xingchi smiled slightly and then prepared to distribute the spoils. But after thinking for a long time, I still don't know how to allocate it. My luck was really bad this time, and no usable equipment or weapons dropped. Forget it, let's not divide it for now. Just keep them all by yourself. You won't need them now anyway. Xingxi smiled slightly. Okay. I'll give it to you when the time comes to change the equipment. Xingchi nodded and put the spoils into his pocket first. Xingxi looked towards the dungeon exit that had just appeared and said softly, let's go. I don't know how the 3 team leaders are doing. I hope the 2 major guilds haven't made things difficult for them. Xingchi Dungeon Station. Many onlookers have not yet dispersed, they want to witness the historic moment. 2 deacons from Zixuan Pavilion and Batu Guild led dozens of guild members to surround the 3 team leaders. Hey! I'm asking you if you're tired. I've already told you I won't run away. Shen Kuo smiled bitterly and shook his head, saying loudly. Humph! You can't be so arrogant for too long. When our president comes up with the first pass, you'll be in trouble. The purple-robed woman remained unmoved and stared at the 3 team leaders. At this moment, the vortex in the copy moved unusually, and a dazzling golden light shot straight into the sky. Such a huge commotion was not only seen by them, but also by the people watching nearby. Great! Our president must have won the first prize. The purple-robed woman clenched her fists excitedly and couldn't help shouting loudly. The eyes of the other guild members also sparkled, and they were all ready to applaud and celebrate. But the comments that followed the announcement poured cold water on them. Congratulations to the Greedy Wolf mercenary group for successfully winning the first clearance record of Xingchi, Hell level. Instance difficulty, Hell level first pass record, 3 hours, 12 minutes and 8 seconds. In an instant, everyone within a 10-mile radius was stunned. Everyone from the 2 major guilds looked as if they had lost their parents. That little brat really made it through the Hell level Spirit Ruins. The purple-robed woman had lifeless eyes and stared blankly at the bulletin board in front of her. The 2 major guilds joined forces, but they were no match for a mere level 15 boy. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she would never have believed it. It's over. Mr. President will definitely not let me go. The purple-robed woman thought that she was the one who let the 2 people in, and her whole body softened and she collapsed to the ground. The people watching not far away were shocked at first, and then filled with ecstasy. As the most difficult dungeon in the wilderness, it can be said that there are no weaklings among those who can come to the Lingxiu dungeon. The levels have all reached above level 25, and there are many rare professions among them. Once the hell level Lingxiu is broken through, a lot of treasures will definitely be revealed. Lu Xingchi and Jiulangxiu are both level 15, so there must be a lot of things they can't use. Go, 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 don't get in our way. Faced with huge interests, the onlookers ignored everything else and swarmed towards the three team leaders. He even did not hesitate to offend the people from the two major guilds and pushed them away roughly. The first attempt at Lingxiu failed, and the people from the two major guilds were in no mood to resist and walked away dejectedly. Captain Shen, we played a dungeon together before. Do you remember? Playing a dungeon is bullshit. Captain Shen and I have been in the same pit together, get out of here. Captain Shen, please be sure to say a few good words for me, no matter how much money it costs. Chapter 59. Just as they were arguing fiercely, Lu Xingchi and Jiulangxiu walked out of the vortex of the copy. Everyone was stunned for a moment, and then rushed towards Lu Xingchi. How could Lu Xingchi not know what they were thinking? He spoke first, please be patient, I did get a lot of treasures in Lingxiu, and I can sell them to you. Really? You're really willing to sell it to us? That's great, I didn't expect Master Lu to be so generous. Who said it wasn't true? If I had known this, who would have flattered Shen Kuo? The onlookers were very excited and spoke praises generously. The three team leaders were all frowning. They thought this group of people were too utilitarian. But it's normal to think about it. After all, they also want to obtain the treasure, which is why Lu Xingchi came to challenge Lingxiu. You should be more familiar with this thing than I am, right? As he spoke, Lu Xingchi slowly spread out his palms, and a weapon embryo slowly emerged. As soon as this thing appeared, everyone's eyes widened and saliva flowed from the corners of their mouths. This is the embryo that can forge a purple rare weapon with 100% certainty, and there is even a chance of forging an excellent weapon. Handmade purple weapons are more powerful than ordinary purple weapons, and also have a higher degree of autonomy. I don't need this thing. I plan to sell it to you for 2 million. Lu Xingchi said. Lord Lu, I want them all. I'll take whatever you have. Get out of the way. I was here first. As soon as these words were spoken, the crowd onlookers became excited again. 2 million gold coins are simply a bargain, almost like picking them up for free. People from the two major guilds were also ready to make a move. If it weren't for their stance, they all wanted to rush forward. The corners of Lu Xingchi's mouth rose slightly. This was exactly the effect he wanted. However, he did not expect that the crowd's reaction would be so intense. These people are too excited about the items that dropped from ordinary levels. If they knew that he had an outstanding purple weapon in his hand, the situation would probably be out of control. Ahem. Lu Xingchi coughed twice, stood with his hands behind his back, and said in a serious tone, but the number may not be enough. If I want everyone to have a share, I may need to challenge Lingxiu a few more times. Nowadays, money is not the most important thing for Lu Xingchi. What he really wanted was the right to skip the queue for the Lingxiu copy so that he could upgrade with maximum efficiency. However, the two major guilds cannot act recklessly like this, or they will be sanctioned by the Daxia authorities sooner or later. Everyone knew what Lu Xingchi meant and nodded in agreement. No problem. The gate of Lingxiu will always be open to Lu Shen. I have no objection anyway. I will be angry with anyone who dares to stop Lu Shen from challenging the Hell Spirit Ruins. We have no objection, as long as Master Lu is willing to sell me the weapon embryo. They went to Lingxiu not to upgrade, but just to improve their strength. Nowadays, when there is an opportunity to improve your strength just by lying down, who would risk their life to challenge a difficult dungeon? Then everyone please line up and register, and purchase in order. Lu Xingchi directly gave all the weapon embryos to Jiulangxiu and said softly, Schwer, thank you for your hard work. Okay, go get busy first. Jiulangxiu smiled slightly and took out a small notebook very professionally. The onlookers were also very cooperative and lined up obediently to register and purchase weapon blanks. Lu Xingchi walked towards the three captains, preparing to deal with the unnecessary excellent weapons. Shen Kuo immediately came forward and couldn't help but give him a thumbs up. Brother Lu, you are really good at this hunger marketing trick. The copy you recommended is still better. Lu Xingchi smiled and shook his head. It is impossible for a normal copy to drop so many weapon embryos. The Lynxio copy is indeed an outlier. Ha ha ha, you are so awesome. When those two presidents come out later, they will probably be so mad. Zhang Heng was extremely excited. Liu Xingchi waved his hand and said calmly, let's not talk about this anymore. I just got some excellent equipment. Are you interested? Of course, you name a price and we will never bargain. Zhang Heng nodded heavily. I don't plan to sell it, but to exchange it. I want to exchange it for level 20 rare equipment. Liu Xingchi looked serious. The three team leaders smiled at each other. If they want rare equipment of level 25, they really have no way to get it. However, rare level 20 equipment is their area of expertise. Even the top guilds probably cannot compare with them in this regard. After all, the areas where mercenaries are usually active are mostly in dungeons of levels 15 to 20, and they have accumulated a lot of inventory over time. Even if there is no suitable one, they can get it quickly thanks to their accumulated connections. No problem. How do you plan to change it? Shen Kuo spoke first. I don't have much experience, so I don't know the tricks. What do you think? Liu Xingchi thought for a moment and decided to test the waters first. He expected to get a level 25 purple excellent equipment in exchange for at least 2 level 20 blue rare equipment. How about exchanging 1 for 4? Zhang Heng raised his eyebrows slightly and asked. Good. Liu Xingchi remained expressionless and nodded slightly. This excellent equipment is more valuable than expected, so there is no need to worry about level 20 equipment. The first pass of Lynxio revealed a total of 6 pieces of excellent equipment, which can be exchanged for up to 24 rare blue equipment. This was more than the total amount of equipment he and Jiulangxiu needed, and he could keep one as a souvenir. In the end, the two sides reached an agreement. Liu Xingchi only kept a demon-slaying dagger and gave the rest of the equipment to the 3 team leaders. The 3 team leaders promised to deliver 2 sets of level 20 rare equipment to him within 3 days. These 2 sets of equipment naturally belonged to Liu Xingchi and Jiulangxiu, 1 set of leather armor and 1 set of cloth armor. Since there was no need for a level 20 main weapon, the 3 team leaders also decided to give Liu Xingchi a set of level 15 rare blue equipment. As for this set of level 15 rare blue equipment, Liu Xingchi intended it as a gift for his good brother, so he asked for the heavy armor set. Just as they were distributing excellent weapons, the vortex in the copy that had been silent for a long time began to move. I saw 5 people popping out from the copy, each of them had a pale face. The 2 major guilds failed in their challenge once again. They were knocked off the platform by the 8-armed demon ape's final ultimate move. If they hadn't used the copy teleportation talisman in time, they would have probably been smashed to pieces. The 5 people were so overwhelmed with anger that they did not notice the people queuing up to buy weapon embryos not far away. Damn it! There's no way to break through that earth-shattering thing. Long Cheng tightly gripped the warhammer, his whole body shaking with anger. Oh! I'm only 20% short of health. It's really too difficult to reach the hell level Lynxio. Ziyun sighed, her face full of helplessness. Chapter 60. If it weren't for that kid, we wouldn't have rushed into the challenge before we recovered. Maybe we could have passed it this time. Long Cheng gritted his teeth, venting his anger. He has always been conceited and never looks for reasons in himself, blaming others for his failures again. What's the point of saying all this? Let's hurry up and challenge again. Ziyun frowned, crossed his legs and began to meditate. Mr. President, actually The purple-robed woman hesitated for a moment, then stepped forward and spoke cautiously. Ziyun slowly opened her eyes and followed the gaze of her subordinates, then she noticed Jiulangxiu. Hey, they came out so soon. Ziyun muttered softly. Long Cheng also turned his head away, his face full of disdain. I said you were worrying too much, don't forget that they have the copy teleportation talisman, they should have come out long ago. My lords, actually, The purple-robed woman lowered her head, hesitating and unable to speak. Zai Kui, when did you become so hesitant when speaking? Ziyun frowned slightly, looking a little unhappy. In fact, they have already taken over the first pass of Hell's Ruins. Zai Kui finally plucked up the courage and finished his words in one breath. Hearing this, Long Cheng and Ziyun were struck by lightning and stood there in a daze. After reacting, the two rushed to the copy vortex almost at the same time and began to explore the copy records. When they saw the name on the first pass record, their faces became extremely gloomy. The two had been powerful in the first wilderness for many years, but had never suffered such a big loss. Click, click, Click. Long Cheng clenched his fists, making a series of dull sounds, and then walked towards Jiangxiu. The people who were watching naturally noticed Long Cheng approaching and stood in front of Jiangxiu. You, what do you want to do? Don't mess around. Get lost. Long Cheng completely lost his mind, and a violent pressure suddenly erupted. The thunder hammer slammed into the ground, knocking away all the people standing in front of Jiangxiu. But Jiangxiu remained motionless, not affected at all. God's blessing is not just for monsters. As long as they are in a team, they are still invincible. Thunder charge! Long Cheng stomped his feet hard, and the ground exploded instantly. The whole person turned into an arrow and rushed towards Jiangxiu at a speed that was difficult to capture with the naked eye. I originally wanted to teach Jiangxiu a lesson, but the warhammer seemed to hit the air and actually went through her body. Under the influence of huge inertia, Long Cheng had no time to restrain his strength and he was thrown out directly. Phantom clone! Ziyun's pupils suddenly contracted and her eyes kept looking around, but she didn't find anything unusual. Damn it, what kind of skill is this? Why is it so weird? Long Cheng struggled to get up. After the lesson just now, he didn't dare to act rashly. From beginning to end, Jiangxiu did not move a step and just looked at the two of them coldly. Hey! You just attacked my teammates, right? Suddenly, a cold voice was heard. Xingchi's face became extremely gloomy, and his eyes exuded bursts of coldness. Little devil, so what? Long Cheng twisted his neck and slowly raised the war hammer in his hand. If you know what's good for you, hand that thing over, and I might be able to spare your life. He who knows the times is a hero. If you offend us, you will not end well. Ziyun took 2 steps forward and stood side by side with Long Cheng. The violent elemental aura madly condensed around the staff, making a harsh and strange sound. As they were talking, people from the 2 major guilds all gathered here. There were more than 300 people, forming a dense black mass and full of momentum. The majority bullies the minority, right? I'll see who dares to touch my brother. Shen Kuo was the first to step forward and stand in front of Xingchi. Zhang Heng and Yun Mo did not flinch, and even the onlookers stepped forward. Even so, Xingchi was still at a disadvantage in terms of momentum as the gap in numbers was too big. Everyone step back. Xingchi said suddenly. Ah! Shen Kuo turned around suddenly, his face full of confusion. We're ready to fight to the death, what do you mean by asking us to retreat? Listen to the captain and don't hurt you by mistake. Jiangxiu reminded softly. Oh! Shen Kuo nodded and walked away quickly. Although no one knew what the two were up to, everyone still obediently withdrew from the battlefield. Haha! I thought you were so brave. When Long Cheng saw everyone retreating, he thought Xingchi was ready to give in. As soon as he finished speaking, a machinery factory appeared beside Xingchi. The first mechanical hound jumped out of the data vortex, lowered its body and let out a series of roars. Ha 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 ha! Is this what makes you so confident? A dog! Long Cheng looked down at the mechanical hound, stunned for a moment, and then couldn't help laughing. But as one mechanical hound and mechanical spider after another rushed out from the data vortex, his smile gradually froze. There were a total of 200 mechanical hounds and 100 mechanical spiders, forming a black mass and looking a bit creepy. Under the sunlight, the mechanical army exudes a cold metallic luster, and their blood-red eyes stare at the enemy, making people shudder. Gurgle. The guild members in the front row swallowed subconsciously and couldn't help but take 2 steps back. These mechanical creations clearly have low attributes, but the aura they emit is extremely terrifying. This aura is very similar to that of the World Lord, making it impossible for people to resist. What are you afraid of? No matter how many there are, they are just a pile of scrap metal. Long Cheng pretended to be calm, raised the hammer high in his hand, and roared, "Everyone, form a battle array." After that, the team formation began to change, and all the knights rushed to the front. The warrior follows closely behind, with the archer and mage at the end of the team. As for the priest and warlock, they stand in the center. Guilds are different from mercenary groups. They are not only good at clearing dungeons, but also have experience in combat. Because they often seize territory, the intensity of their fights is far more brutal than that of mercenary groups. Come on! At Long Cheng's command, the knights rushed out first. Dozens of knights used shield skills at the same time, forming a golden wall visible to the naked eye. Elemental light bloomed behind the team, and their movements were in perfect unison, as if they had been rehearsed hundreds of times. Dozens of fireballs appeared at the same time, dragging long tails of flames, and smashed towards the mechanical army. Seeing such a grand occasion, the three team leaders were sweating and their hearts were beating violently. It has to be said that the two major guilds have certain capital to dominate the wilderness. It's all fancy. Xingchi smiled coldly. The mechanical army is fine if it doesn't move, but once it moves, it will fire at full power. Countless death rays gathered into an impenetrable firepower network, almost instantly defeating the fireballs in the sky. Chapter 61. Bang! Xingchi suddenly raised the Desert Eagle and a flaming bomb roared out. With its power increased 20 times, the inflammable bomb was like a flaming dragon descending, easily tearing through the knight's shield wall. Before the gap could be repaired, the mechanical hound rushed in through the gap. The mechanical hound moved like a black lightning, and the clumsy knight couldn't react at all. The seemingly ironclad formation of the two guilds turned into chaos in the blink of an eye. The mechanical hound is like a wolf among a flock of sheep, and no one can stop it. The first to suffer were the warriors. Their heavy armor was as fragile as tofu under the sharp claws of the mechanical hounds. Not to mention priests and warlocks, these professions that wear cloth armor, and a light claw can easily tear off a large piece of flesh. The archers in the back were still firing like crazy, but they found that their arrows could not penetrate the defense at all, and it was difficult to even leave a scratch. In just a few seconds, the team of 300 people was completely defeated, and the fear in everyone's heart continued to grow. These mechanical dogs are too tough, I can't beat them at all. Help, help me. Master President, help. There were cries and shouts for help mixed together, and the arrogance from before was nowhere to be found. Long Cheng and Zai Yun, who were at the back, also had fear on their faces. Looking at this bloody scene, they couldn't muster any emotion of resistance. The onlookers were all terrified and looked at the mechanical army in amazement. Fighting against two major guilds alone can still gain an absolute advantage. Too strong, really too strong. Less than half a minute had passed since the battle began, and the team of 300 people had been defeated. Many people threw away their weapons and armor and tried to flee like crazy. Retreat, retreat. Long Cheng didn't care about his face anymore and ran away. But before he took 2 steps, a bullet emitting cold air hit his back. Then, a huge silver net surrounded him. The sticky spider web shrank instantly, binding him tightly, and an invisible force came over him. Power boost. Long Cheng subconsciously activated his skills, but it had no effect. It felt like he was being dragged by a huge ship and no matter how he struggled, it was useless. In just a few seconds, Long Cheng was dragged to Xingchi's feet. Xingchi looked down from above and slowly raised the Desert Eagle in his hand, with raging flames gathering. Brother, you are still young, don't be impulsive. Long Cheng was so scared that his face turned green and his whole body was shaking uncontrollably. He had just witnessed the power of the incendiary bomb. If he was shot at such a close distance, he would probably lose half of his body. Bang! Xingchi raised the muzzle of the gun half an inch, and a flaming bomb spun out. A wave of fire erupted on Long Cheng's face, and the terrifyingly high temperature instantly burned his skin, causing him to let out a heart-wrenching scream in pain. After cutting the spider silk, Xingchi kicked the seriously injured Long Cheng away. Gurgle. Zai Yun, who was far away, subconsciously moved her throat after seeing the dying Long Cheng. As a rare profession, poison fire mage, she is best at group attacks. However, she discovered that the poisonous flames that she was so proud of were completely unable to cause any effective damage to the mechanical hound. The mechanical hound is immune to poison, and Ziyun's poisonous flames are no different from ordinary flames to it. Stop him! Ziyun wanted to escape during the chaos, but she could not outrun the mechanical hound. 10 mechanical hounds surrounded her, and the low roars seemed to come from hell. You, what do you want? Zai Yun no longer had her usual calmness and her face looked a little pale. Xingchi slowly raised his eyes. I heard that your 2 guilds have thousands of people. You can go and gather people now. I'll wait for you here. Human wave tactics won't work on him, don't forget that he also has the powerful weapon of mechanical detonation. If Ziyun dared to gather people, he wouldn't mind killing them. I didn't intend to gather any help. Ziyun was so frightened when her thoughts were revealed in public that she couldn't speak clearly. She had originally thought of gathering people to seek revenge, but when she saw Xingchi so calm, she completely gave up the idea. Otherwise, Zixuan Pavilion and Batu Guild would probably disappear completely from the first wilderness in the future. If I find out that you dare to embarrass my friends, I will come back and tear down your guild. Liu Xingchi said in a serious tone. No. I dare not. From now on, the 3 captains will be the guests of honor of Zixuan Pavilion. Xiun quickly shook her head, her eyes full of fear. Due to the huge gap in strength, he no longer had the will to resist. Liu Xingchi is only level 15 now, and it is hard to imagine how powerful he will be in the future. Liu Xingchi nodded in satisfaction and looked down at Long Cheng, who was still twisting and squirming. I dare not. If you don't believe me, I can give you the position of president right now. Long Cheng, whose half face was burned, was completely defeated. When lives are at stake, the title of president is nothing but empty talk. Go away. Liu Xingchi waved his hands with a look of disgust on his face. He doesn't care about the position of chairman. He alone is worth thousands of troops, so why would he need another burden? Upon hearing this, the people from the 2 major guilds retreated quickly while expressing their gratitude. Several members of the Tyranny Guild carried the seriously injured President Long Cheng away. After a while, the people from the 2 guilds completely disappeared from sight. Bang! With a light snap of his fingers, all mechanical creations disappeared instantly. Everything returned to calm, as if nothing had happened. If there hadn't been some fresh blood on the ground, everyone would have thought it was a dream. After a long time, the 3 team leaders and the onlookers finally reacted. Oh my god, this is too fierce. Mr. Liu is so handsome. From now on you are my idol. Did you see Long Cheng's expression just now? If his hands and feet were not bound, he would have knelt down and begged for mercy. Everyone was talking about it, and they seemed even more excited than Liu Xingchi himself. They had been bullied by the 2 major guilds for a long time. Finally, someone could make them lose face, and they felt extremely happy. Liu Xingchi ignored the noisy crowd and walked straight to Shen Kuo. Brother Shen, I need a favor from you. If you have anything to say, just tell me. I will go through fire and water for you without hesitation. Shen Kuo said in a serious tone. It's not a difficult matter. No need to be so serious. Liu Xingchi smiled and shook his head, then said calmly, I have a friend named Lu Feng, who should come to the wilderness in the next few days. If you see him, please bring him to me. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Shen Kuo patted his chest and agreed readily. Then I'll trouble you. Liu Xingchi patted the other person's shoulder and immediately walked towards the copy vortex. There are only 5 days left until the National Joint Entrance Examination, which seems to be plenty of time. However, we also need to consider the return time, which actually only leaves 4 days. Liu Xingchi's current level is 16. If he wants to reach level 20, he needs to upgrade 1 level per day on average. In the past, it would have been impossible to do so, but now it is different. By selling weapon embryos, Liu Xingchi has obtained the right to skip the queue for the Lingxiu copy, and his upgrade efficiency has almost doubled. Without staying for too long, Liu Xingchi went straight into the copy vortex. Chapter 62. 3 days later. The Lingxiu dungeon, which is usually deserted, now has a long queue. The strange thing is that no one challenged the copy, but instead stared at the copy vortex. Swish! 2 figures walked out of the copy vortex. They were Liu Xingchi and Jiangxiu. Without waiting for the enthusiastic crowd to gather around, Liu Xingchi skillfully handed the weapon embryo to the 2 captains. Zhang Heng and Yun Mo had already gotten used to it and began to sell weapon embryos in an orderly manner. 9 days ago, Liu Xingchi was still a poor boy who couldn't afford a skill book. In just 3 days, Liu Xingchi became a billionaire by selling weapon embryos. Looking at the long string of numbers in the backpack balance, he felt no emotion at all. Sure enough, when you have enough money, you really won't be interested in money anymore. Not only that, his level has also reached level 19, and he is only 1 step away from breaking through to level 20. Just as Liu Xingchi was preparing to strike while the iron was hot and break through the bottleneck of level 20 in one fell swoop, a familiar voice sounded behind him. Brother Liu. Liu Xingchi subconsciously turned around and saw Lu Feng running towards him excitedly. Today was his first time entering the wilderness. Before he started to challenge the dungeon, he was found by Shen Kuo, who rushed him here without stopping. Liu Xingchi said, do you mind adding 1 more person to the group? Sure. Jiangxiu was stunned for a moment, then nodded. She had already been admitted to a top university and did not need to take the national entrance examination. So there is no level anxiety, but I am a little curious why Liu Xingchi is willing to lead people. He's my good brother, and I want to help him get into a top university. Liu Xingchi saw Zhilangxiu's confusion and took the initiative to explain. He is really lucky to have a friend like you. Zhilangxiu chuckled. While the two were talking, Lu Feng rushed over and hugged Liu Xingchi. Wow, the wilderness is so scary. I almost thought I would never see you again. Brother Liu, I have brought the person to you. I will take my leave now. After Shen Kuo brought the person over, he said hello and left. Okay, okay. Didn't you just meet me for no reason? Liu Xingchi looked helpless. Pfft. You two really have a good relationship. Zhilangxiu laughed so hard that her body shook. Lu Feng then noticed the people around him and immediately let go of Liu Xingchi, asking, Who is this? Let me introduce my new friend, Zhilangxiu. Liu Xingchi said. Hello. Zhilangxiu smiled slightly and greeted very politely. Hello. My name is Lu Feng. Lu Feng was a little reserved and didn't dare to look directly at Zhilangxiu. Liu Xingchi took a look at Lu Feng's level, which was just the threshold for entering the wilderness, which was level 15. This was already quite difficult for Lu Feng. If he had not joined the school's first echelon, he would not even be qualified to come to the wilderness. Lu Feng pulled Liu Xingchi aside mysteriously and asked in a low voice, Brother Liu, where did you kidnap such a beautiful woman from? What does kidnapping mean? Liu Xingchi was speechless. You are not attracted to her, are you? Lu Feng smiled with an ambiguous smile, Brother, you have good taste. I approve of this sister-in-law. Screw you. Liu Xingchi rolled his eyes at him and said seriously, Seriously, I will help you level up and make sure you get into a top-notch school. But there's only half a day left. I want to be admitted to a top-notch school as a basic professional. I need to reach level 17 at least. Is there enough time? Lu Feng lowered his head, feeling a little lost. Wanting to level up 2 levels in half a day is nothing short of a fantasy. Even if a top mercenary group led the team, it would probably be impossible to do it. Of course there's still time. When have I ever boasted to you? Liu Xingchi was very serious. 2. Lu Feng nodded, then let's set off quickly. Departure? Where to? Liu Xingchi was full of questions. Of course we're going to the level 20 dungeon. I just heard from Captain Shen that this is the most difficult level 25 dungeon. Lu Feng said mysteriously. Why don't you take a look at my level first? Liu Xingchi shook his head helplessly. Upon hearing this, Lu Feng opened his eye of truth and discovered that Liu Xingchi had reached level 19. It's even about to break through level 20. This upgrade speed cannot be described in words, it is simply a miracle. Don't just stand there, hurry up and apply for the team. We have to hurry up. Liu Xingchi opened the team formation interface and sent a team formation application to Lu Feng. Oh. Lu Feng felt like he was still in a dream and his application was approved in a daze. Before he could fully come to his senses, a vortex sucked him into the copy. Oh my god, why did I choose the hell level difficulty? As soon as he entered the dungeon, Lu Feng was shocked by its difficulty. Not to mention a hell level copy, he had never even seen a nightmare level copy. Don't worry, there's no danger. Liu Xingchi first summoned a mechanical spider, then picked up Lu Feng and threw him onto the back of the mechanical spider. Immediately afterwards, Liu Xingchi and Zhilangxiu each rode on the mechanical spider. In order to ensure Lu Feng's safety, Liu Xingchi activated static stealth throughout the process. The huge mechanical army advanced towards the depths of Lingxiu at an extremely fast speed. Boom boom! The mechanical army was flying with sparks and lightning, killing the monsters in the mural almost instantly as soon as they appeared. I have been busy clearing the Lingxiu dungeon these days and have already memorized the mechanisms and terrain here, and I can clear it at an extremely fast speed. Kill the Meerkat Mage and gain 48,000 experience points. Kill the Armored Badger and gain 21,000 experience points. Kill the Monkey Archer and gain 48,000 experience points. Experience barrages filled the screen like crazy, and Lu Feng's experience bar skyrocketed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Oh my god, this is too fast. Lu Feng opened his mouth in surprise as he looked at the rapidly increasing experience points. What's going on with this experience value? Even a hell level copy wouldn't be so exaggerated. Xingchi is an oracle priest and possesses an aura that increases extra experience. Liu Xingchi explained softly. Oracle priest, you mean the legendary profession? Lu Feng widened his eyes. What else? Is there any other profession called oracle priest? Liu Xingchi said indifferently. Oh my god! This is the first time I've seen a living legendary profession. Lu Feng looked at Xingchi again, his eyes full of awe. The oracle priest is not an ordinary legendary profession, but an advanced legendary profession. Even if we look at it from a global perspective, it is definitely the best. In just over 10 minutes, the mechanical army had arrived at the second mural area. As if after thousands of rehearsals, each attack could easily take down a monster. Is this a hell-level monster? How could it be killed with just one shot? Looking at the hell-level monsters falling one after another, Lu Feng even had an unreal illusion. It was not until he opened the Eye of Truth and scanned the data of the Xingchi monster that he was almost frightened to fall off the mechanical spider. The attributes of the Xingchi monster are ridiculously high. Even the weakest armored hog badger can probably kill him in one blow. Seeing this, Lu Feng was so scared that he bent down and stuck close to the back of the mechanical spider, fearing that he would accidentally fall off. This trip to Xingchi completely opened Lu Feng's eyes, and he couldn't stop talking from beginning to end. 2 hours later, the 8-armed demon ape fell under the mechanical torrent, and a huge amount of experience poured in again. Since he failed to gain double the experience points for breaking the record, Lu Feng was unable to level up. Chapter 63. Without staying too long, Liu Xingchi controlled the mechanical army and quickly left the copy vortex. As usual, Liu Xingchi handed the weapon embryos to the 2 team leaders for sale. Lu Feng subconsciously walked towards the end of the team. Where are you going? Liu Xingchi grabbed him. Q, what's wrong? Lu Feng turned around, his face full of confusion. Isn't it common sense that you need to queue up to play a dungeon? Let's go. I want to get in line, but they're not happy about it. Liu Xingchi didn't explain further and dragged Lu Feng towards the copy vortex. Ah! Lu Feng looked confused and thought he would be scolded by everyone. But when I looked at the people in the queue, I found that they had no reaction at all. There was even a hint of expectation in his eyes, as if he was urging them to hurry up. Without figuring out what was going on, Lu Feng was dragged into the dungeon again. In just half a day, Liu Xingchi and Lu Feng completed 4 dungeons in total. Lu Feng broke through 2 levels in a row, and his level rose from level 15 to level 17. Liu Xingchi and Xingchi both broke through to level 20. It is already midnight, but it is still bustling outside the Xingchi dungeon. They all knew that today was Liu Xingchi's last day in the wilderness, so they cherished it very much. Swish! The 3 of them walked out of the copy vortex, and Liu Xingchi handed over the last batch of weapon embryos to the 2 team leaders. You don't have to give me the gold coins from the sale of these weapon embryos. The 2 team leaders have worked hard these days and they deserve some rewards. After saying this, Liu Xingchi did not enter the Xingchi dungeon again, but walked straight towards the dungeon exit. You're not going to fight anymore? Don't you want to stay up all night? Master Liu, please don't leave. I haven't bought the weapon embryo yet. Please fight me again. It will be my turn in the next batch. When everyone saw that Liu Xingchi was really about to leave, they all became a little anxious, and many people even chased after him. Liu Xingchi was also speechless. Why did playing a dungeon feel like going to work? Thank you all for your cooperation these days. We will meet again if we are lucky. After saying that, Liu Xingchi quickly summoned a mechanical spider and disappeared into the night. I have to hurry back to school tomorrow and can't delay any longer. Brother Liu, you are so awesome. This is the first time I see someone begging to cut in line. Lu Feng gave a thumbs up, expressing his admiration from the bottom of his heart. It's just that each of us takes what we need. Liu Xingchi smiled and shook his head, then threw a set of heavy armor and weapons to Lu Feng. As early as a day ago, the 3 team leaders delivered 3 sets of equipment to him as agreed. 2 of the sets were naturally for Liu Xingchi and Xingchi, and the other set was prepared for Lu Feng. This is the Mad Blood suit. Lu Feng took the suit and his hands were shaking with excitement. This is a level 15 rare blue outfit, you can't buy it just by having money. He wasn't quite sure of the true value of the equipment, but it was definitely worth more than all his net worth. Brother Liu, how much is this set? I will definitely save money and pay you back in the future. Lu Feng said in a serious tone. No need, it's for you. Liu Xingchi smiled and shook his head. This set of mad blood suit is just a gift from the 3 team leaders. That won't work. No one's money comes from the wind. Lu Feng said righteously. Jiulangxiu chuckled and said, you don't have to feel any psychological burden. He is now worth hundreds of millions, so a few million is nothing. Billions, billions of dollars. Lu Feng was so frightened that he came to his senses after a long while. He asked cautiously, Brother Liu, have your parents found you? FKU, what a mess. Liu Xingchi glared at Lu Feng and explained helplessly, I earned all this bit by bit. Do you want it or not? Don't give it back to me. Yes. Why not if it's free? Lu Feng moved quickly and put the crazy blood suit into his backpack in an instant. After knowing that Liu Xingchi was worth billions, he no longer had any worries. With the crazy blood set, it was a sure thing for him to be admitted to a top-notch university. The 3 of them stayed overnight at the Baidu mercenary group, which was closest to the Lingxiu copy. The next morning, the group hurried to the Great Wall of Steel. The 3 team leaders accompanied them all the way to the outer edge of the Great Steel Wall and watched them enter the city gate before turning around and leaving. Ah! After this separation, I don't know when we will meet again. I guess next time we meet, Brother Liu will be higher in level than us. Do we even need to estimate this? Brother Liu will surely become a pillar of the country. We are lucky enough to have met him. It is already a great honor for us. Unconsciously, the 3 team leaders who used to scheme against each other have now become good friends who can talk about anything. The sun sets in the west, and the setting sun is blood red. Zhongcheng No. 1 High School. Rows of buses are neatly lined up at the school gate. There is less than half an hour left before we leave for the test site in the provincial capital. Most of the students did not go to the wilderness for training, so they got on the bus early. The official joint entrance examination will begin tomorrow. The students are extremely excited and chattering non-stop. Why haven't you come back yet? Could something have really happened? Teacher Chen Yao paced back and forth, looking extremely nervous. Teacher Li Jun comforted him softly, don't be nervous, there's still half an hour left. You don't have any back pain when you talk while standing, but how can I not be nervous? Chen Yao frowned, her nervousness evident in her words. A total of 5 people in their class went to the wilderness for training, and 3 of them returned in the afternoon. Among the 3, Wang Tianyu's level is still the highest, reaching level 17. But his rank is no longer the best in the school, and there are many people tied with him for first place. Only Liu Xingchi and Lu Feng have not returned yet. A taxi stopped at the roadside in front of the school gate. It was Liu Xingchi and Lu Feng who had returned in time. The appearance of the 2 immediately attracted the attention of everyone in the school. The reason is simple, the equipment they both wore was too gorgeous. A complete set of crazy blood suit made the ordinary-looking Lu Feng instantly become wild and handsome. Liu Xingchi's Fenghua suit, on the other hand, is much more calm and restrained. It is mainly white in color, without any exaggerated shape, but it reveals an unfathomable mysterious atmosphere. Wow, Swiba Liu, you are so handsome. How come I didn't realize that classmate Lu is so handsome? What kind of equipment are they wearing? Why haven't I seen it in the trading house? Looking at the 2 people approaching, many female classmates on the bus were excited and their eyes sparkled. As the saying goes, the layman watches the excitement, while the expert watches the details. The students only knew that both men were wearing extraordinary equipment, but they did not know what specific equipment it was. But the teacher and the principal's eyes lit up and they looked extremely shocked. The Mad Blood set is a rare blue suit. It is extremely difficult to obtain even one piece, let alone a whole set. As for the Fenghua suit, it is known as the strongest leather armor at level 20. It is a treasure that cannot be bought with money. The fact that Liu Xingchi can wear this set of equipment means that he has reached level 20. This is far more surprising than the rare equipment itself. Chapter 64. Student Liu. Teacher Chen Yao was the first to rush over and grabbed Liu Xingchi's shoulders. Great, you're back safely. I'm fine, sorry to have made you worry. Liu Xingchi smiled slightly and took out the Wilderness Qualification Certificate. Teacher, this is your Wilderness Qualification Certificate. Now it is returned to its original owner. Chen Yao took the Wilderness Qualification Certificate and said softly, it seems that you are lucky not to have met anyone from the Abyss Church. I told you it wouldn't be that easy to come across. Teacher Chen, you're just thinking too much. A hearty voice was heard, and Teacher Li Jun walked towards this side with a smile. Hearing this, Lu Xingqi's mouth corners slightly raised, but he didn't say much. In fact, he not only encountered the Abyss Church, but also eradicated the remnants of the Abyss Church. Principal Zhang also came along, his face full of smiles. In just 10 days, he had reached level 20. He was so excited that he could not express it in words. Even for a legendary profession, it is difficult to reach level 20 in 30 days. It seems that I was worrying too much. Principal Zhang walked over slowly, not caring about his face, and bowed his head slightly. Teacher Chen, I apologize to you for my previous recklessness. Now it seems that you are right. Principal Zhang, you are also considering the safety of the students. You don't need to apologize. Teacher Chen Yao was startled and quickly helped Principal Zhang up. In public, Principal Zhang, as the school's top leader, was willing to condescend to apologize, which shows his sincerity. Principal Zhang then slowly stood up, his expression extremely serious. Thanks to your persistence, otherwise a genius would have been buried, and I would be the sinner. There is a huge imbalance in resources between different institutions. The levels of higher education institutions are not divided randomly. The quality of resources in institutions of different levels can be said to be very different. Especially the top universities, their resources are even more unique, and even the first-class universities can only look up to them. If Lu Xingchi had not ventured into the wilderness but stayed in the school's copy hall, he could at best have been admitted to a first-rate institution. Principal Zhang, stop talking. Since student Lu has returned safely, everything is over. Teacher Chen Yao was also a little embarrassed, she just stumbled upon it by accident. If she knew about the affairs of the Abyss Church, she would most likely not agree. Principal Zhang slowly walked towards Lu Xingchi, patted him on the shoulder, and said earnestly, Student Lu, our Zhang Cheng hasn't had a top scholar for a long time. I hope you can give us another surprise. I'll try. Lu Xingchi nodded. The school bus is about to leave, so hurry up and get on board. After exchanging pleasantries for a while, Principal Zhang turned and left. Teacher Li Jun, Lu Feng and others also got on the bus. They had to rush to the provincial capital before 8 p.m. Before getting on the car, Lu Xingchi returned the 100,000 gold coins he had borrowed from Teacher Chen. You received a gift of 1 million gold coins, do you accept it? Looking at the gift interface that suddenly popped up, Teacher Chen stopped abruptly. It took him a long time to react and he looked at Lu Xingchi in shock. Teacher Chen, there was no mistake. This is what you deserve. Lu Xingchi smiled slightly and then got on the bus. A drop of water should be repaid with a spring. If it weren't for Teacher Chen's strong support, he would have no chance to go to the wilderness. A mere 1 million is nothing to Lu Xingchi, who is worth billions. If he wasn't afraid of scaring the teacher, he would have transferred 10 million. This child. Teacher Chen smiled slightly and gladly accepted the gold coins. She knew Lu Xingchi's character, and once he made a decision, he would never waver. Xingchi. At 8 o'clock in the evening, the group arrived at the guest house near the test site in the provincial capital on time. The joint examination will be held at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and all schools in the province will arrive in the provincial capital the night before. Only after Principal Zhang personally arranged separate accommodation for Lu Xingchi did he leave with peace of mind. The joint entrance exam is tomorrow, why am I not nervous at all? After washing up, Lu Xingchi lay on the bed, looking at the ceiling and muttering to himself. Perhaps he had experienced too much in the wilderness, and the joint examination did not seem to stress him. Of course, there is another reason. He already knew that those with legendary professions would be directly recommended, and those who took the joint examination could only be admitted to high-level rare professions at best. Hey! Even though it's not necessary, let's still respect the joint exam a little. Lu Xingchi jumped up and sat up from the bed. He was in a hurry all the way and the environment was extremely noisy, so he didn't have time to deduce the level 25 main weapon. Thinking of this, Lu Xingchi opened the online trading house and began searching for the level 25 main weapon. The level 25 main weapons come in 3 colors, white, blue, and purple. Of course, purple weapons naturally have the highest attributes. However, even though they are all purple weapons, there are still differences in quality, namely ordinary, rare and excellent. In the level 25 dungeon, the probability of rare weapons dropping is greatly increased, so there are also a few rare purple weapons in the online trading house. Lu Xingchi searched for a while and suddenly remembered something. Yes. Purple equipment can be forged using weapon blueprints, so there is no need to buy finished weapons. Thinking of this, Liu Xingchi began to search for the level 25 weapon design drawings. What surprised him was that the online trading house actually had a few outstanding purple weapon designs. To deduce and replicate a weapon, one only needs to figure out the mechanical structure. It is not necessary to disassemble the weapon. The weapon blueprint can also be used to do this. A weapon blueprint is not like a finished weapon. It is only the first step in making a weapon. You also need to collect materials and entrust a weapon forger to make it. The reason why handmade excellent weapons are precious is mostly because the materials for making them are difficult to collect, and it also depends on the craftsmanship of the weapon blacksmith. If you are not careful, there is a risk of production failure. However, the Rubik's Cube of Wuzhou omits the production step, allowing Liu Xingchi to obtain the weapon directly. Purchasing blueprints is much cheaper than purchasing main weapons, and there are more choices. Hehe. God helps me. Liu Xingchi smiled happily and then began to choose carefully. Finally, he took a fancy to an outstanding purple weapon called Pure White Shadow and bought it for 2 million gold coins. 2 million is simply a bargain. If the finished weapons were sold, they would cost at least tens of millions. Weapon design drawings are actually a kind of memory scroll that contains materials and production processes. Once used, a memory will flood into the mind and the weapon design will disappear. Purple weapons are much more complicated than blue weapons. Not only are their mechanical structures complex, but the engraved runes are also extremely complicated. Chapter 65. It took Liu Xingchi more than 10 minutes to memorize everything, and then he began to deduce without stopping. After trying more than 10 times, Liu Xingchi finally succeeded in replicating it. Main weapon, Pure White Shadow, Rules-Free Cube, Quality, Purple, Excellent, Type, Rune Pistol Attributes, Strength plus 1200, Intelligence plus 1200, Agility plus 1200, Constitution plus 1200 Level, 25 Effect, Restore 1% of your energy every second. Hidden Special Effect, Unique All skill effects are amplified by 25 times, Amplification Factor equals weapon level times 100%, the attributes of Pure White Shadow are not high among the outstanding purple weapons, and can only be said to be average. The reason why Liu Xingchi chose this main weapon was mainly because of its effect. The joint entrance examination is a war of attrition. The rules do not allow the use of any potions, so mental recovery is crucial. Recovering 1% of spirit per second may not seem high, but it is extremely exaggerated in actual combat. It only takes 100 seconds to restore your mental strength to full capacity, so there is no problem even if the magnetic energy barrier is fully activated. Just as Liu Xingchi expected, after breaking through level 20, he indeed acquired his first defensive skill, Magnetic Barrier. Magnetic Energy Barrier, level 5 can generate an all-round magnetic energy barrier, resisting damage equal to 5000% of constitution before disappearing. With the hidden amplification of the Rubik's Cube, the amount of damage that the magnetic barrier can withstand is extremely terrifying. 1 point of physique can provide 10 points of chi and blood, health points, and the total shield amount is equivalent to 125 times of Liu Xingchi's chi and blood. What's even more terrifying is that this skill has no cooldown time, which means that as long as he has enough spirit, mana, he can use it seamlessly. This is also the reason why Liu Xingchi chose Pure White Shadow as his main weapon, focusing on being as still as a mountain. After deducing the main weapon, Liu Xingchi opened the personal attribute interface again. Name, Liu Xingchi. Occupation, Mechanical Commander, only 1, Level, 20 Strength, 1800 plus 2700 Intelligence, 1800 plus 2700 Agility, 1800 plus 2700 Physique, 1800 plus 2700 Main Weapon, Pure White Shadow, Rules-Free Cube, Equipment, Fenghua Top, Fenghua Pants, Fenghua Shoulder Pads, Fenghua Belt, Fenghua Boots. Jewelry, Fenghua Ring, Fenghua Necklace, Fenghua Bracelet. Title, King of Skeletons. Professional Talent, Quantum Link. Passive Skills, Mechanical Factory, Level 5, Perpetual Motion Engine, Mastery, Active Skills, Precision Shot, Normal Attack, Stalker, Level 5, Explosive Bomb, Level 5, Recall, Mastery, Static Stealth, Mastery, Mechanical Detonation, Level 5, Slayer, Level 5, Frost Bomb, Level 5, Magnetic Energy Barrier, Level 5. Long before Liu Xingchi rushed back to school, he had already upgraded all his skills to the highest level. All unmastered skills have been upgraded to level 5, and their power has been significantly improved. The maximum storage capacity of Mechanical Factory increased from 15 to 20. With the terrifying increase of the Infinite Cube, there are now 500 mechanical creatures. All four-dimensional attributes exceeded 4005, and the highest attribute of mechanical creations reached an appalling level. Even if he challenges a level 30 Hell Lord, he can easily kill him in seconds. Now Liu Xingqi's strength has reached its peak. Hey, that should be fine. Liu Xingchi smiled happily and admired it for a long time before closing his personal interface. Without any pressure, Liu Xingchi soon fell into a deep sleep. A dreamless night. At around 8 o'clock in the morning, the candidates, led by their respective teachers, went to the examination venue in the provincial capital. When they arrived last night, it was dark and they did not notice the situation in the examination room. I saw an ancient black tower standing in the center of the examination room, towering into the clouds and exuding an ancient atmosphere. The whole tower is simple and solemn, without too much decoration, but it exudes a sense of majesty and mystery. There was a huge crowd of people outside the main examination hall. All the candidates had arrived half an hour in advance and were waiting for the door to open. The examination halls in Xingchi cover an astonishingly large area, with 4 gates alone. Oh my god, it's so high! Lu Feng looked up at the black tower that reached into the sky and couldn't help but sigh. Except for the local candidates from Xingchi, the reactions of most candidates were similar to his. This black tower is called the Demon Suppression Tower. It is a special dungeon building for the joint exam. There are 3 such buildings in the central Daxia base. Teacher Chen Yao patiently explained to the candidates. As an experienced teacher, this is not the first time he has brought students to take the joint examination. Teacher Chen, how many people are taking part in this joint exam? A candidate asked curiously. There are roughly 100,000 people from this province taking the joint entrance exam. Teacher Chen Yao said in a deep voice. Of course, the 100,000 people refers to the number of people taking the combat professional joint examination. The number of people taking the joint examination for living professions is far greater than that for combat professions, almost reaching 200,000. This is just the number of people from one of the 3 major provinces in central Daxia. There are more than 300,000 people participating in the combat joint examination in the entire central Daxia base. Oh my god, there are too many people. Many people were startled, and their already tense mood suddenly became even more tense. Chen Yao originally wanted to introduce the admission rates of various institutions of higher learning, but seeing that most students were very nervous, she decided not to mention it. Among 100,000 people, only 1,000 can be admitted to a top university, which means 1 in 100. There are also rankings among the top universities, and Hyuxia universities are consistently ranked in the top 3, so you can imagine how difficult it is. But Liu Xingchi didn't care at all. He was just wondering when the door would open. Chen Yao seemed to notice Liu Xingchi's absent-mindedness and said softly, the top scorer reward for this joint exam is quite special. You can get a certificate of transcendence. Proof of transcendence. Liu Xingchi's eyes lit up, as he felt like he had heard a similar name somewhere. After a while, he thought of the transcendence badge that Jialangxiu had mentioned before. The Beyond badge allows one to wear equipment above one's level, which is exactly the treasure he desperately wants. It seems like there is something you care about. Chen Yao smiled slightly, and then explained, the Transcendence Certificate is the only item to enter the Transcendence Tower. Challenging the Transcendence Tower may earn you the Transcendence Badge. As expected. Liu Xingchi nodded thoughtfully, and a ripple began to rise in his calm heart. The Certificate of Transcendence is of great significance. It seems that I must get the title of top scholar. On the eve of the examination hall doors opening, there was a sudden commotion among the crowd. What's going on? Why are legendary professionals also taking part in the joint exam? I heard that he had committed some crime and was reported and his admission qualification was cancelled. Ah? How could this be? Then the top spot in the imperial examination is definitely a foregone conclusion. Chapter 66. Teacher Chen, who are they discussing? Someone asked. Chen Yao said softly, I don't know much either. I only know his name is Gao Bo. He made a mistake and was disqualified from being recommended for admission, so he rushed to take the joint entrance exam. So it was him. Liu Xingchi frowned slightly and muttered softly. If my guess is correct, it should have been reported by the victims' families. As Gao Bo is a legendary profession, the team he belongs to is also extremely luxurious. 4 of the 5 people are legendary professionals, and their families also have considerable power. If Jiulangxiu had not been rescued, the fact that there was no evidence would not be able to do anything to him. It's a pity that man proposes, God disposes, and he couldn't escape punishment after all. Brother Lu, do you know him? Lu Feng on the side asked in a low voice. We are acquaintances, but there are some conflicts. Lu Xingchi said. Lu Feng said seriously, he is definitely not a good person. He deserves to be deprived of his admission qualification. Lu Xingchi smiled but said nothing. I originally thought that the joint exam would be too boring without legendary professions, but now it seems to be somewhat interesting. Squeak. The door to the examination room slowly opened, making a teeth-grinding sound. Everyone lined up in an orderly manner to enter and underwent security checks one by one. This link is mainly to prevent people from carrying contraband and to use special effects medicines in advance. Once discovered, the candidate will be disqualified from taking the joint examination for life, so no one dares to cheat in the joint examination. Everyone follow me. Finally, it was Zhongcheng High School's turn, and Chen Yao led the students through the gate. As soon as he stepped into the examination room, Lu Xingchi felt a powerful barrier force. He discovered that the backpack space was temporarily sealed and he could not use any items, including recovery potions. Wow! As expected of a provincial capital, this main examination hall is so magnificent. Lu Feng was like a curious baby, looking around non-stop. He doesn't seem to be under any pressure because he doesn't set high standards for himself. Lu Xingchi nodded in agreement. The examination hall in Xingchi was very spacious and could accommodate more than 100,000 people without seeming crowded. After everyone finished lining up, an old man in a white uniform slowly walked up to the stage. Everyone should know the rules of the joint examination, so I won't elaborate on them. This joint exam will focus on testing comprehensive qualities, including individual output, group output, stress resistance, and combat capability. This year's Central Daxia Joint Examination is a unified examination for 3 provinces. Winning the Central Daxia Top Scholar Award is a testament to your excellence. I wish you all to achieve satisfactory results and have a bright future. The person standing on the podium and speaking was the chief examiner of this joint examination, Ji Chuan. Just like in previous years, after delivering the opening remarks for the joint examination, he slowly walked down the stage. Then the examiners came to distribute integrators, which are the key props for calculating the candidates' scores. This insulator is like a watch, which can display the current total points and real-time ranking. The scorers have been distributed. Now start lining up to enter the examination room. The so-called examination room refers to the demon suppressing tower, which has a total of 4 entrances. Everyone lined up in an orderly manner to enter the examination room, and the scene was extremely quiet. Except for the principal who was allowed to go to the observation room, all teachers left the examination room. Hundreds of principals gathered in the observation room. Many people were exchanging information about this year's candidates with each other, making the place seem quite lively. Everyone's eyes were focused on a principal in a suit with sparse hair. Hey, old Huo! What's up with Gao Bo from your school? Why is he here to take the joint entrance exam? That's right, originally our school wanted to challenge for the top spot. You are so mean. You have made us lose all hope. Although these principals appear to be very serious in school on weekdays, they are no different from ordinary people in private. The old Huo mentioned by everyone is named Huo Ming. He is the principal of Xingchi No. 1 High School. You think I'm willing? Gao Bo is the only legendary profession among the candidates, and he has even reached level 20. He is almost certain to win the title of No 1. But what's the use? I still can't get into the Dream Academy. Huo Ming smoothed his messy hair and sighed. There are also school divisions among the top universities. After being admitted to the legendary profession, students will directly enter the Dream Academy. The Dream Academy is a special academy independent of the 8 major colleges and universities, and most of the students in it are legendary professionals. I wonder what mistake did Gao Bo make that he was disqualified from admission, a principal asked curiously. It seems to be related to an attack by the Abyss Church. I don't know the details. Huo Ming hesitated, seeming to have some concerns. Perhaps in order to change the subject, he looked at Principal Zhang who had remained silent. Mr. Zhang, how is your school this year? Are there any good talents? There is one, and he has also reached level 20. Principal Zhang said truthfully. Huo Ming nodded repeatedly and said with a smile, Oh, sure. In previous years, this would have given me a chance to become the top scholar. What a pity. Among the 100,000 examinees, only a handful can reach level 20. Level advantages can make up for professional disadvantages, especially when you break through level 20, you can have one more skill than others. Principal Zhang smiled coldly but did not refute. Suddenly, the only screen in the observation room lit up. Huazhong Joint Examination Score ranking. The joint entrance examination has not officially started yet, so the list is still empty. On the other side, the monitoring hall. The inspection team, led by Chief Examiner Ji Chuan, assisted by Deputy Examiner Sun Qi, and consisting of thousands of examiners, is also ready. The facilities here are extremely advanced. A huge light screen slowly lights up, showing real-time images of all the candidates. The existence of the inspection team is to ensure the absolute fairness of the joint examination, and no one can play tricks under their noses. After the light curtain lit up, the main screen in the center was constantly playing Gao Bo's surveillance footage. As a legendary professional, he is naturally the focus of observation by the inspection team. Ji Chuan's eyes quickly scanned the surveillance screen as usual. Suddenly, his eyes stopped on a certain picture, which was the surveillance picture of Liu Xingchi. Normally, the surveillance screen would mark the basic information of the candidates, but Liu Xingchi's information was basically blank except for his name. Hey, why does this candidate only have a name, and the rest of the information is blank? Ji Chuan asked puzzledly. Sun Qi immediately checked the candidate's information and quickly gave an answer. This candidate woke up too late, and the information has not been updated yet. I see. Ji Chuan nodded thoughtfully, then his eyes quickly swept across. A candidate who starts late is unlikely to be very good and is naturally not worthy of attention. Chapter 67. Half an hour later, all 100,000 candidates entered the examination room. The first level will begin soon, all candidates please be ready. I will explain the rules of the first round of joint examination. This round will mainly test the output ability of a single unit. The monster on this floor is a level 15 Minotaur Lord with 10 times the HP increase. The time limit is 100 seconds. The full score is 1000 points. For every 1% of HP lost, you get 10 points. Then multiply that by the remaining time percentage. The Bull Lord is in a wooden state and will not attack you. Please feel free to attack. Ji Chuan opened the sealed scroll and read the contents of the joint examination 3 times. In order to prevent someone from wearing equipment that restrains a certain type of monster, the contents of each joint examination are kept strictly confidential. After 10 seconds of countdown, the bull-headed lord will appear. 10, 9, 8, 7. Liu Xingchi did not summon any mechanical creature, but slowly raised the pure white shadow in his hand. It's not because of arrogance, but because mechanical creations need to be given orders, and their overall speed is definitely not as fast as bullets. The pure white shadow exuded a scorching breath, and the air around it began to distort. The location where the Minotaur Overlord appears is random and cannot be predicted in advance. 3, 2, 1. The moment the countdown ended, a phantom shadow appeared 10 meters to the right of Liu Xingchi. Bang! There was no unnecessary movement, just a flick of the hand fired a flaming bomb. Almost at the moment when the shadow of nothingness condensed, the explosive bomb hit it accurately. Boom! The violent flames suddenly exploded, completely tearing apart the bull-headed lord who had 10 times the blood and energy. An ordinary lord of level 15 is still vulnerable even if his health has increased tenfold. This is too easy. Liu Xingchi was speechless. The intensity of this joint entrance examination was too low. However, when he thought that this was the first round of tests and that the majority of candidates still needed to be taken care of, he felt relieved. Otherwise, if all the first-level students get nothing, then the meaning of the joint examination will be lost. Liu Xingchi raised his hand and glanced at the integrator. First place, Liu Xingchi total points, 1000 full marks. Liu Xingchi raised his eyebrows slightly, but soon figured it out. It seems that it is less than 0.5 seconds, so the time should not be counted. In this case, the percentage of time he has left is 100%, so there is naturally no need to deduct points. At this moment, the monitoring hall has not yet noticed that the scoreboard has changed. Because Gao Bo's clearance footage was still playing on the main screen, his profession was Thunder Mage. As a legendary profession, the Thunder Mage naturally possesses extremely powerful talents. Not only can it greatly increase the damage of thunder spells, but it can also increase the skill range and shorten the casting time. 5 seconds, that's 950 points. Ji Chuan nodded repeatedly and said softly, as expected of a legendary profession, this single target output capability is also quite good. As he spoke, his eyes subconsciously looked towards the list, only to find 2 names on it. Lu Xingchi, 1000 points. Ji Chuan was so frightened that his beard stood up and his lips were trembling slightly. How could he get a perfect score? How did he do it? For a moment, the other members of the inspection team also noticed the names on the standings. This seems to be the candidate with blank information. Didn't he awaken very late? How come he is so powerful? It's outrageous, it's really outrageous. In Daxia's history, there has never been a perfect score. Could it be that the integrator is malfunctioning? Everyone was talking about it, and many people doubted Lu Xingchi's performance. It's no wonder they reacted like that. Even the strongest single-target output legendary profession would probably take 2 or 3 seconds. A full score is impossible. Replay Lu Xingchi's surveillance footage. Ji Chuan did not jump to conclusion, but ordered his subordinates to check the surveillance records. Yes. The technicians immediately started the operation, and the main screen was replaced with Lu Xingchi's monitoring records. On the main screen, the surveillance footage of Lu Xingchi killing the Minotaur Lord with one shot began to play. Because the time was so short, it was played dozens of times in just a few seconds. In an instant, the entire monitoring hall fell silent and everyone looked at each other in confusion. There is no suspicion of cheating, and the possibility of integrator failure is also ruled out. Lu Xingchi killed the bull-headed lord who had 15 times the health in just half a second. Master Ji, he seems to be using a level 25 excellent purple weapon. How is this possible? Sun Qi was very observant and was able to tell the weapon used by Lu Xingchi from the constantly flashing images. There are only 2 possibilities for being able to use level 25 equipment. One is that Lu Xingchi has reached level 25. The other possibility is that Lu Xingchi possesses the badge of transcendence and wears equipment above his level. Neither of these 2 possibilities seems very realistic. Ji Chuan observed for a long time and murmured, there is another possibility. That is his life weapon. My natal weapon? But isn't that a pure white shadow? Sun Qi was a little excited. You wear glasses, but your eyesight is not as good as an old man like me. Take a closer look. Ji Chuan sighed helplessly and froze the flickering surveillance footage. After the pause, Sun Keke noticed that the weapon in Lu Xingchi's hand seemed a little strange. At first he thought the image was blurry, but when he saw the portrait wasn't blurry either, he realized it was the nature of the weapon. What's his profession? I've never seen such a strange weapon. Sun Qi opened his mouth in disbelief. It should be a brand new profession. This kid has unlimited potential. Ji Chuan's cloudy eyes revealed a gleam of light, and he said in a concentrated voice, switch Lu Xingchi to the main screen as well. Yes, sir. The technicians began to work frantically and soon split the main screen into 2. Lu Xingchi and Gao Bo each occupy half of the area, and both are now waiting to enter the second floor. Judging from the picture, Gao Bo's face looked a little ugly. With a legendary profession, he was actually beaten by others in the joint entrance examination. How could he be in a good mood? The joint examination was still going on, and people continued to kill the bullhead commander. Not bad, not bad. It's worth it that I prepared rare equipment for you. Lu Xingchi kept scrolling down the list and finally saw Lu Feng's name. Lu Feng is currently ranked 2240th, which is already a very good result. The admission rate to top universities is 10%, so the top 10,000 students have a chance. If he performs consistently, he will most likely be admitted to a top university. What surprised Lu Xingchi was that Wang Tianya was exactly 2 places below Lu Feng, ranking 2242nd. The first round of tests is not difficult and most people can pass it, but the time taken may vary. Chapter 68. 100 seconds passed in a flash, and everyone was instantly teleported to the second floor. The moment of transmission to the second floor, the integrator automatically reveals the scoreboard light curtain. First place, Lu Xingchi, total score, 1000. Second place, Gao Bo, total score, 950. Third place, Zhao Xiao, total score, 930. Many candidates had very interesting expressions when they saw the top spot on the scoreboard. Most people were very happy because someone was finally able to break the dominance of the legendary profession. Anyway, with Gao Bo taking part in the joint examination, they didn't expect to win the top spot. Now seeing a dark horse emerge is naturally the best thing. The first round of exams is over. Everyone can take a 5-minute break. Candidates who are temporarily behind should not be discouraged. The joint entrance examination tests comprehensive ability and there will be opportunities to catch up in the future. Ji Chuan communicated with the candidates through the microphone, and the scoreboard light curtain was replaced by a 300-second countdown light curtain. The light curtain in the observation room is much slower than that in the monitoring hall. Because the accuracy and authenticity of the data must be guaranteed before it can be transmitted to the observation room. Here it comes. Seeing the flashing images on the screen, all the principals became excited. Although most of them knew that even if Gao Bo participated in the joint examination, he would definitely not be able to compete for the top spot. But I still hold on to a glimmer of hope, hoping that a miracle will happen. All the principals stood up excitedly and looked at the constantly updated scoreboard. First place. Lu Xingchi. It's not Gao Bo? Is this true? Full marks, how can it be a full mark? Which school is this candidate from? How could he be so brave? For a moment, the observation room was in chaos. The principals looked at each other, completely confused as to what was going on. Only Principal Zhang Weiming and Principal Huo Ming did not stand up. Principal Zhang had expected this, so he was not too surprised. Principal Huo Ming was so frightened that his brain completely froze and hasn't restarted yet. Lao Zhang, you are so calm. This Lu Xingchi, isn't he from your school? Someone noticed Principal Zhang's unusual behavior and couldn't help but ask him back. Principal Zhang nodded and said proudly, that's right, Lu Xingchi. He is our Zhongcheng student. As soon as these words were spoken, all the people who had just surrounded Principal Huo came over to Principal Zhang. Principal Zhang, you are really hiding your talents. It seems like the top spot is almost certain this time. This time, I'm afraid your Zhongcheng will soar into the sky. The presidents of major universities still have great objections to legendary professions participating in the joint entrance examination. Now seeing the legendary profession suffer a setback is naturally something they like to see. Principal Huo was isolated and felt a little embarrassed. He said gloomily, don't be so confident. A profession with strong single target damage will definitely have poor group damage. The second level tests the group's output ability. I don't believe anyone can beat the Thunder Mage. Hearing this, the principals calmed down. They were unable to see the surveillance footage, and the information they could infer from the standings alone was very limited. Although he was reluctant to admit it, the Thunder Mage's group attack ability was indeed unmatched by many professions. The joint entrance examination still depends on the total score. A temporary lead does not mean anything. The voice of examiner Ji Chuan sounded again. The break is over, and the second round of assessment begins now. The second level will test your group output capabilities. Kill as many monsters as possible. The Demon Suppression Tower will refresh 100 goblin puppets at once, and the level will still be level 15. You can get 10 points for each goblin puppet you kill. The time limit is 100 seconds, and the total score is 1000 points. The goblin puppet can move, but cannot attack. Please use all your strength. After the countdown ends, the joint examination officially begins. 10, 9, 8, 7. Lu Xingchi was not too anxious this time, as the scoring rules for this level had little to do with time. You only need to kill all the goblin puppets within 100 seconds to get full marks. 100 is too few. Lu Xingchi muttered softly, wondering why the upper score limit wasn't set higher. There are 500 mechanical creations in the mechanical factory, and a mere 100 goblin puppets are not enough to share. Thinking of this, Lu Xingchi sighed helplessly. 3, 2, 1, go. The moment the countdown ended, 100 beams of light were evenly distributed in every corner of the demon suppressing tower. Lu Xingchi took a quick look and roughly figured out the distribution pattern of the monsters. The distribution is too even, and there is no overlapping between monsters. The space inside the demon suppressing tower is not large, and it is difficult to arrange 100 mechanical spiders evenly. Bang! Before the monster was completely condensed, Lu Xingchi snapped his fingers lightly. 100 silver-level mechanical hounds rushed out of the mechanical factory. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The speed was so fast, like black lightning flashing by, and it was difficult to see with the naked eye. Even if it is the farthest monster, it only takes 3 seconds with the speed of the mechanical hound. A level 15 goblin puppet with pitifully low attributes, how could it withstand a claw from a mechanical hound? Bang, bang, bang. In the blink of an eye, 100 goblin puppets began to fall one after another from near to far. After killing the last goblin puppet, all the mechanical hounds disappeared. The whole process takes no more than 3 seconds, which is incredibly fast. At the same time, some mages were still chanting spells and hadn't even used their first skill. Thunderous! Gao Bo finally finished chanting and unleashed his strongest group attack skill. With him as the center, golden thunder spread in all directions. I have to say, there is some truth to the thunder mage being a legendary profession. With just one skill, Gao Bo cleared the field and killed all 100 goblin puppets. After completing the instant kill, Gao Bo immediately looked down at the integrator. His points have not been updated yet, but Liu Xingchi's total score has reached 2000. Full marks again. Gao Bo felt his blood boiling and he wanted to take off the integrator and throw it away. Although he also got full marks, he couldn't accept that someone could clear monsters faster than him. You have to know that it only took him less than 5 seconds, how could Liu Xingchi surpass him? Could this kid have cheated? Gao Bo really couldn't figure it out and could only mutter to himself. But he could only talk big, as cheating in the joint entrance examination was impossible. The first round of results were not cancelled, which means there was no malfunction in the integrator. Don't panic. There are still 2 floors left, and there is still a chance to overtake. Gao Bo took a deep breath and secretly cheered himself up. On the other side, the monitoring hall. The inspection team of more than 1,000 people is now silent. Everyone looked stunned. They didn't even see how Liu Xingchi killed the monster in an instant. All they saw was a series of black lightning, and then 100 goblin puppets fell down in an instant. If they hadn't seen that Liu Xingchi was holding a rune pistol in his hand, they would have suspected that he was a mage. Sun Qi turned his head and looked at the examiner Ji Chuan, as if asking again, "Do you see clearly what it is?" "Don't look at me, I can't see clearly either." Ji Chuan glanced at him, then said seriously, "Play the surveillance video at half the speed." "Yes." The technician responded immediately and then slowed the video down by half. But the picture is still very blurry and it is impossible to see clearly what it is. "Hey, I just don't believe it." Ji Chuan was so angry that he blew his beard and glared, and shouted loudly, "Keep slowing down until you can see clearly." "Yes, sir." The technicians were also sweating profusely. Their technicians have always had idle positions and have never been as busy as they are today. Start adjusting the slowdown factor, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. It was not until the speed was slowed down 10 times that everyone could finally see the appearance of the mechanical hound clearly. Chapter 69. So it's a summoner branch profession. Ji Chuan nodded thoughtfully and muttered to himself, "But this number is too outrageous, isn't it? That's a total of 100 mechanical creatures." He had never heard of a summoner who could summon so many creatures at once. There are roughly 2 types of summoner professions, one that focuses on quality, and one that focuses on weight. I have never seen so many of them, and the quality of each one is so exaggerated. Sun Qi was also shocked and his face was full of disbelief. The goblin puppet is targeting difficult level monsters, but it is not easy to kill them in one blow. Even for the thunder mage, it took nearly 8 seconds in total, including the casting time. This means that he also needs several thunders to kill a goblin puppet. However, surveillance playback shows that the mechanical hound only needs 1 claw to kill the goblin puppet. What a horrible injury this is! After so many years, a powerful new profession finally comes out. Ji Chuan couldn't help but sigh. A batch of new occupations appear almost every year, but most of them are mediocre. Some are not even as good as basic professions, and only a very few can be rated as low-level rare professions. "Mr. Ji, what do you think is the probability of this candidate becoming the top scorer?" Sun Qi said seriously. Ji Chuan thought for a moment and said calmly, "If I can perform stably in the 3rd round of exams, there will most likely be no problem. But the 3rd round tests the ability to withstand pressure, which is the weakest level for the summoner profession. He shouldn't be able to get full marks, right?" Sun Qi stroked his chin and muttered softly. He no longer doubted whether Liu Xingchi could win the top spot. With just the 100 mechanical hounds of unknown strength, they could carry him to the top spot. What he cares about now is whether Liu Xingchi can become the first candidate in history to score full marks. The summoner profession can be said to be the most versatile profession among all professions. If we talk about clearing a dungeon alone, there are very few professions that can match it. But it is also well known that the summoner's weakness is the summoner himself. It's hard to say. I can't tell how capable this kid is. Ji Chuan smiled and shook his head, saying lightly. While the two were talking, the list data in the monitoring hall was also transmitted to the observation room. Suddenly, the entire observation room was in an uproar, and everyone was partying like crazy. Oh my god, Liu Xingchi is still number 1. That's amazing. Full marks again. Mr. Zhang, your student is amazing. He has scored full marks for 2 rounds in a row. Is he really going to make history? Only Principal Huoming had a gloomy face, and the corners of his mouth were twitching slightly. This time I was really embarrassed. I was just saying that it's impossible to have a profession that is strong in both individual and group attacks, and yet someone else got full marks again. Fortunately, the time taken was not marked on the list, otherwise Principal Huo would probably have been so angry that he left the table. Mr. Zhang, who is this student of yours? Why is his information blank? A principal asked curiously. Mr. Liu awakened late, and the data uploading time limit has exceeded, so. Principal Zhang smiled and explained. I remember the time limit for uploading data is 10 days. Could it be that he is still after that? How is this possible? Liu Xingchi has reached level 20. How could he have done that in just 20 days? That makes sense. Old Zhang, you are not being mysterious and deliberately not reporting the information, right? The principals were talking to each other, and it was very lively. What's there to hide? Student Liu completed the awakening mission on the 21st day and reached level 8 on the same day. Then he went to the wilderness for training. Principal Zhang folded his arms across his chest and told the story. Lao Zhang, what you say is getting more and more outrageous. I can tolerate him leveling up 8 times in one day, but you said he went to the wilderness that day. It's impossible to reach level 20 in 10 days, even if you hire a top mercenary group at a high price. It's not impossible. Look at his outrageous grades. It's not surprising that he would do anything. The principals gathered around Principal Zhang, chattering non-stop. Most of them were not taking part in the joint examination for the first time, but they had never seen such an outrageous candidate. Principal Zhang nodded slightly and said in a deep voice, believe it or not, I scolded his class teacher for this matter. Now I think about it and feel a little guilty. Seeing how confident he was, everyone began to believe it. Old Zhang, what exactly is Liu Xingchi's occupation? Principal Huo, who had been silent all this time, couldn't help but ask a question. There was no way. After hearing everyone's conversation, he became more and more unsure. It's a new profession that belongs to the summoning branch. Principal Zhang said casually. Principal Huo secretly breathed a sigh of relief and muttered to himself, so it's a summoner profession, no wonder. The summoner profession is the only profession among many professions that has both single target and group damage. However, he has almost no ability to withstand pressure, and the 3rd round of exams must be his weak point. Thinking of this, Principal Huoming, who had just been dejected, couldn't help but straighten his chest. Liu Xingchi is indeed very good, but if he wants to compete for the top spot, he's probably still a little short of it. Huoming stroked his few remaining hairs once again and continued, there is no such thing as a perfect career in this world. I'm going to lose a lot of points in the 3rd round of exams. I say, old Huo, it shouldn't be that serious. That's right, are you jealous? Many people came to watch the fun and spoke in a joking tone. Ahem. Huoming's face flushed, and he pushed up his glasses pretending to be calm. I'm just analyzing objectively. Don't forget that the score difference between the top 2 is only 5 points. It's easy to catch up. Hearing this, everyone nodded thoughtfully. They were all amazed at Liu Xingchi's perfect score, but ignored the fact that Gao Bo's score was not much different. If you are not careful, you might really be caught up. Huoming smiled slightly and continued, you must be aware of the characteristics of a summoner. He has almost no ability to withstand pressure. How long do you think he can last in the 3rd round of trials? But the mage profession doesn't have that much ability to withstand stress, right? A principal objected. General mages are not very good at withstanding pressure, but the thunder mage is different. Not only does he have high-speed teleportation skills like Thunder Flash, he also has shield skills like Thunder Barrier. I can't say I can get full marks, but at least I can get high marks. Principal Huo also knew a lot about the Thunder Mage and analyzed it in a very organized manner. For a moment, the observation room fell completely silent. Although I was a little unhappy with Principal Huo Ming's arrogant expression, I have to say that his analysis made some sense. Humph, this guy. Principal Zhang glanced at Huo Ming and didn't pay much attention to him. Chapter 70. The second round of joint examination is coming to an end. Lu Xingchi took a look at the real-time standings and found that Lu Feng had dropped to over 3000th place. There is no way around it. Group attack is not the advantage of the warrior profession, and it is very normal for the ranking to drop. However, as long as he is within the top 10,000, Lu Feng can still be admitted to a top university. Swish! The moment the second round of exams ended, everyone was teleported to the third floor of the demon suppressing tower. As usual, the integrator automatically projects the current scoreboard. First place, Lu Xingchi, total score, 2000. Second place, Gao Bo, total score, 1950. Third place, Shen Yan, total score, 1935. Fourth place, Zhao Xiao, total score, 1930. When the candidates saw that Lu Xingchi was still the first place, their expressions were extremely excited. I thought Gao Bo, as the Thunder Mage, would overtake in one fell swoop, but unexpectedly Lu Xingchi still got full marks. Except for the top two which remain unchanged, the rankings of the rest have undergone drastic changes. For example, the third place was replaced by the original Eagle Eye Archer Zhao Xiao and the Angry Mage Shen Yan. Many mages with low rankings have seen their rankings rise significantly after this round of assessment. The projection of the ranking list disappeared, and a familiar voice came from the integrator. The third round of exams is about to begin. I will explain to you the specific rules of the third round of exams. The third round of exams will mainly test your ability to withstand pressure. 10 waves of level 20 ghost monsters will be refreshed on this floor one after another, and the pressure you will face will become greater and greater. Ghost monsters are invincible, so don't try to kill them. All you can do is dodge or resist. The time limit is 10 minutes. For every minute you persist, you can get 100 points. When your chi and health reach 1%, this round of the test will end and you will be immediately teleported to the fourth floor. You still have 5 minutes to rest. The countdown starts now. As soon as the words fell, the integrator projected a countdown light curtain. The vast majority of candidates were visibly nervous, as this round of test was the most important one. This round of test is completely different from the previous two rounds. It tests not the output ability but the ability to withstand pressure. Stress resistance not only refers to defense, but also the ability to avoid monster skills. A level 20 ghost monster must have terrifyingly high attributes, and it is highly unlikely that you will be able to resist it. Even if they are the toughest knights, they can't expect to make it through the entire process. But overall, the Cavaliers still have a unique advantage because they have a higher tolerance rate. This is also a reflection of the fairness of the joint examination. After all, in the first two levels, the knights with low output were extremely miserable. The 5 minutes of preparation time passed in a flash. 10 monsters appeared in every corner without warning, and there was almost no pattern to their positions. A cold and strange aura came from all directions, making people's hair stand on end. The first wave of monsters are of a relatively simple type, all of them are ghost riders. The ghost knight was wearing pitch-black armor, revealing only a pair of eyes that flashed with cold light, exuding a gloomy breath of death. Lu Xingchi immediately opened the Eye of Truth and scanned the monster's information: Ghost Rider, Invincible, Level, 20 Strength, 5000 Intelligence, 500 Agility, 5000 Physique, 5000 Skill, Undead Charge. The first wave of monsters don't have high attributes. Lu Xingchi stroked his chin lightly and gave a very pertinent evaluation. But it is quite normal. After all, this is a selection test and most of the candidates are at level 15 or so. As an ordinary monster of level 20, the Ghost Knight's attributes are already terrifying for them. Bang! Lu Xingchi raised his hand and shot the nearest Ghost Rider. The bullet passed straight through Ghost Rider without causing any damage at all. It seems that he is not only invincible, but also immune to all attack skills. Lu Xingchi quickly came to the conclusion that the control skills seemed to be unusable. If he could control it, he could just summon mechanical spiders to tie up all the ghost monsters. Swish! The first Ghost Rider began to charge, but not too fast. Liu Xingchi dodged it easily by stepping backwards, and the rest of the ghost knights gradually approached. Try invisibility first. As soon as he finished speaking, Liu Xingchi's figure slowly disappeared. If you can skip class by relying on static stealth, there is no need to waste energy on using magnetic barriers. Roar! The moment the Ghost Rider lost his target, his dark green eyes gradually turned blood red and he let out a deafening roar. Their speed doubled visibly, and their attack patterns became irregular. A ghost knight who had just passed by suddenly came back and attacked. Fortunately, Liu Xingchi reacted in time, bent down on the spot, and the tip of the gun passed over the tip of his eyes and nose. What's going on? Why is it so violent? Liu Xingchi immediately cancelled his stealth mode, and the Berserk Knight instantly returned to normal. After finding a target to attack, the wandering Ghost Knight rushed towards him again. At the same time, the second wave of monsters also refreshed. The original 10 Ghost Knights have now doubled. Okay. Let's play it this way, hey. Liu Xingchi smiled and said calmly, then I won't be polite either. Magnetic barrier. I saw a translucent barrier, protecting Liu Xingchi from all directions. The magnetic energy barrier emitted faint electric arcs, and even the ground was coated with a layer of electric light. The first Ghost Knight was already close at hand, and a spear wrapped in will-o'-the-wisp came rushing towards him. A barely visible ripple appeared on the magnetic barrier, and then calm returned in the blink of an eye. Crackling! Ghost Knights approached one after another and launched continuous attacks towards Liu Xingchi. The magnetic barrier emitted a faint electric sound, blocking all attacks. It was like a vast ocean, as if it could swallow all attacks, making Liu Xingchi feel very safe. Until the third wave of monsters refreshed, the magnetic barrier showed almost no signs of weakening. It was really too easy. The skill multiplier of the magnetic barrier itself is abnormally high. With the 25-fold amplification of the matrixless cube, the total shield capacity has reached an alarming level. Ha! Liu Xingchi felt so relaxed that he even felt a little sleepy. So he sat on the ground, closed his eyes and began to meditate. Not to mention an ordinary level 20 monster, even a level 25 monster probably wouldn't be able to break the magnetic barrier. The third round of assessment is still going on, with waves of monsters constantly appearing. More and more monsters surrounded the magnetic barrier, but they still couldn't break Liu Xingchi's shield. It was not until the fifth wave that the first batch of elite monsters finally appeared, Ghost Archers. The Ghost Archer is good at long-range attacks and has a very high attack frequency. But it was of no use. Liu Xingchi didn't even have the chance to connect to the second magnetic barrier. Chapter 71. In the monitoring hall, all the examiners were dumbfounded. The third round of exams was supposed to test the examinee's ability to withstand extreme stress, so the difficulty level was relatively high. But for Liu Xingchi, there seemed to be no pressure. He doesn't even need to move to avoid the monster's skills. I have been the chief examiner for more than 10 years. I have seen all kinds of scenes, but I have never seen anyone sitting down to take an exam. Ji Chuan's eyes were wide open, and he was obviously very angry. This is a stress-resistant test. Can you please respect the test? Sun Qi smiled awkwardly and said calmly, Mr. Ji, I'm not lying down, which is already very respectful. He was observing Liu Xingchi's magnetic barrier the whole time, and there was no major change from beginning to end. It's hard to imagine how thick Liu Xingchi's shield skill is. This kid is really unfathomable. He has no weaknesses at all. It seems like he got full marks again. Ji Chuan said in a concentrated voice with a burning gaze. Sun Qi agreed softly, it would be great if legendary professionals could also take part in the joint exam, so that they can see what it means that there are always people better than you. I don't know what school this kid is going to apply to. I really sympathize with his classmates. Ji Chuan smiled slightly. I guess all the top universities would extend an olive branch to such a genius. Sun Qi said. I don't want to look at this kid anymore. He's really infuriating. Ji Chuan turned his head and looked at the main screen beside him, which was the real-time monitoring screen of Gao Bo compared to Liu Xingchi's side. Gao Bo's side was much more tense and exciting. When there were no elite monsters in the first 5 levels, Gao Bo seemed to be able to handle them with ease with the help of Thunder Flash. However, after the appearance of the Ghost Archer, displacement skills alone are not enough, he also needs to cooperate with the Thunder Shield. Crackling. Judging from the picture, Gao Bo's fighting skills are quite impressive. By repeatedly releasing the 2 skills, his health has not been lost yet. However, as time goes by, the number of monsters on the third floor increases. Starting from the 7th wave, a new elite monster has appeared, the Ghost Mage. The Ghost Wizard's attack range is astonishing. The ghost fires in the sky are like a downpour, and there is almost no place to stand. No matter how skilled Gao Bo is, there will always be times when he cannot dodge, and the light of the thunder shield will become dimmer. Due to the frequent use of skills, Gao Bo's mental power was consumed at an extremely fast rate. Starting from the 9th wave of monsters, the effectiveness of physical skills and techniques decreases significantly. In the small space, 90 ghost monsters attacked frantically. The sky was filled with will-o'-the-wisp fire and arrows, filling almost every corner, and the space to hide was extremely compressed. The 10th wave of monsters had just appeared when the thunder shield was completely destroyed. Without the protection of the thunder shield, Gao Bo's health was dropping at the speed of light. As a fragile class wearing cloth armor, he was completely defenseless without the shield skill. Swish! The moment Gao Bo was sent to the 4th floor of the demon-suppressing tower, he could see the 10th wave of monsters clearly. They turned out to be a group of huge monsters, the Ghost Generals. The difficulty of this joint examination is beyond imagination, and I didn't expect that mutated elite monsters would appear. It's good that this kid could hold on for so long, but it's a pity that he ran into a monster. As he spoke, Ji Chuan's gaze returned to the other side of the screen. As expected, Liu Xingchi was still sitting there, as if he was asleep. This kid, could he really have fallen asleep? Sun Qi's face was full of black lines. Ji Chuan shook his head. That's not the case. He looks like he's sleeping, but he's actually meditating. Meditation is a universal skill that can quickly restore spirit and blood while in a static state. However, in a combat situation, it is almost impossible for someone to use this skill to recover. However, Liu Xingchi is a special case. His magnetic barrier is too thick. The 4th floor of the demon-suppressing tower. Except for Liu Xingchi, all candidates have finished this round of examinations. Everyone looked pale, the difficulty of the 3rd round of exams was far beyond their imagination. Most people can only hold on until the 6th wave of monsters, and being able to see the 7th wave of monsters is already outstanding. Thanks to the huge health bonus from the Mad Blood suit, Lu Feng actually survived the 7th wave of monsters and scored 700 points in this round. In contrast, Wang Tianyu was in a miserable situation. He only managed to last until the 6th wave of monsters, and his points in this round were only 600. The 3rd round of exams completely widened the score gap, and Lu Feng's ranking rose sharply to more than 1,800. Wang Tianyu's ranking dropped to more than 4,000. Although he is still within the top 10,000, there is a high probability that he will not be able to enter a top-notch university. During their free time, all the candidates were looking down at the integrator. Because the 3rd round of points is not the final settlement, but increases slowly over time. Does he really have no weaknesses? This is too strong. Oh my god, is this going to get full marks again? Liu Xingchi, come on. When the candidates saw that Liu Xingchi's scores were rising steadily, they became nervous. If Liu Xingchi really gets full marks in the end, they can be considered as witnesses of history. Only Gao Bo had a gloomy face and stared at the integrator. At this moment, Liu Xingchi's score has reached 2,900 points. This means he has persisted for 9 minutes. However, the examiner did not announce the end of the exam, from which we can judge that he is still persisting. The mutant elites have appeared. I don't think he can survive this. Gao Bo was also a little unsure. Even though Liu Xingchi did not get full marks, he was still first. But now it is no longer a matter of competing for the first place. Liu Xingchi has a great chance of breaking the joint entrance examination history. On Liu Xingchi's side, the battle is almost over, but he remains as still as a mountain. The Ghost General not only has amazing attack power, but also has the skill of group encouragement, which makes all ghost monsters stronger. Crackling! Hundreds of ghost monsters were attacking frantically, and the ghost fire and arrows in the sky almost engulfed Liu Xingchi. Only a series of electric arc sounds could be vaguely heard, and all attacks were blocked outside the magnetic energy barrier. Whenever the barrier became dim, Liu Xingchi would slowly release the magnetic barrier again. Up to now, Liu Xingchi is still in full spirits. Meditation can restore 1% of spirit per second, and the Fenghua suit can also restore 1% of spirit per second. With the two combined, Liu Xingchi is like a perpetual motion machine that never runs out of energy. 10 minutes have passed, and the numbers on the scoreboard jumped. Suddenly, the integrator popped up a screen showing the points ranking list. First place, Lu Xingchi, points, 3000. Second place, Gaobo, points, 2850. Third place, Li Yi, points, 2800. Fourth place, Zhao Xiao, points, 2730. Chapter 72. This time, there were once again significant changes in the points ranking. Except for the top two which remain unchanged, the third place has changed again. Li Yi is a Templar Knight. With his super high defense and damage reduction skills, he successfully met the 10th wave of monsters. Unfortunately, he was unable to withstand the fierce attack of the Ghost General and was defeated in less than 10 seconds. How is this possible? Gao Bo looked at the light screen that popped up in front of him, his expression a little dazed. I thought taking part in the joint entrance examination would be like a dimensionality reduction attack, but I never expected to be crushed the entire time. Except for him, the other candidates couldn't help cheering. That's awesome. Master Lu is awesome too. This is the first time I've seen someone get full marks on the third round of exams. Are we really going to witness history? At the same time, the information in the observation room was also synchronized. When the principals saw that Lu Xingchi was still the first place, they were stunned for a moment, and then burst into thunderous applause. Getting full marks in the third round of exams means more than the previous two rounds. Principal Huoming looked at the list on the standings and was speechless for a long time. He just felt a burning pain on his cheek. Principal Zhang did not add insult to injury, but just joined in the applause. Not long after, the examiner's voice sounded again. The third round of exams is over, and the fourth round is about to begin. This round of exams tests your combat abilities. You will be required to kill the Lord-level monster, the Sky Curtain Beast. You have 3 choices in total: Ordinary Lord, Difficult Lord, and Nightmare Lord. The upper limits of the 3 difficulty levels are different. The normal level is 600 points, the difficult level is 800 points, and the nightmare level is 1000 points. In addition to difficulty selection, you can also choose the monster level. The default monster level is level 15. If you choose a level 20 monster, your points will be doubled. The scoring rules are also very simple. You can get corresponding points by killing monsters within the time limit of 30 minutes. You have 10 minutes to rest. Please make your choice immediately after the break. Sometimes choice is more important than hard work. Please evaluate your own strength rationally and make the most reasonable choice. As soon as the words fell, a 600-second countdown screen appeared. This time the rest time was particularly long, not only because meditation was needed to recover. Also because an important decision must be made, which directly affects the final result. In the monitoring hall, the 2 chief and deputy examiners were also discussing. Mr. Ji, how do you think Lu Xingchi will make his choice? Sun Qi asked softly. Ji Chuan looked solemn. It depends on whether he wants to win the top prize or create history. This is indeed a difficult decision. I have already obtained full marks in the first 3 rounds of examinations. It would be a pity to back out in the 4th round. Sun Qi stroked his chin and murmured. Ah! I'm afraid he might have such thoughts. The 4th round of examinations seems to be testing their practical ability, but in fact it is testing their character. Ji Chuan sighed deeply, and then continued, almost no one can challenge a lord of the same level alone. This option is simply a trap. The word arrogance has ruined countless geniuses. In fact, the 4th round of assessment is like the final question in the exam paper. There are very few people who can score in the 4th round of exams. Even if they kill an ordinary level 15 lord in a single fight, they can definitely leave a large number of people behind. This year's Central Daxia joint entrance examination is quite difficult, and the Sky Curtain Beast is one of the most difficult lords to deal with. Level 17 is the minimum threshold for killing ordinary level Sky Beasts. Otherwise, even if you use your skills to the fullest, if you are not hit once, your output will definitely not be enough. If it is above level 18, some rare professions that are good at single combat have a certain probability of killing a difficult level Sky Beast. For most legendary professions, fighting against a level 15 nightmare level Sky Beast alone without assistance is already their limit. Of course, the prerequisite is to have a level advantage and also to perform exceptionally well. Otherwise, if there is even a small mistake, you will probably suffer the consequences. In a sense, the total score of the joint entrance examination is 4,000 points. Master Ji, I actually don't understand why this option still exists after all these years, since no one can challenge a level 20 lord alone. Sun Chi couldn't help but be curious and asked questions. Of course, it is to screen out those who are pretentious. Ji Chuan smiled slightly and explained, sooner or later, people like this will fall prematurely because of their arrogance. Instead of wasting resources to train them, it is better to prevent them from entering top schools. I see. Sun Chi nodded repeatedly, seemingly thinking about something. I have to say that the top leaders of Daxia are very wise. A trap in the joint examination option saved a huge amount of precious resources. 10 minutes passed in a flash. The integrator projects the difficulty selection interface. The 30-minute countdown has begun. Please make your choice as soon as possible. 15th level Lord, normal level, difficult level, nightmare level. Level 20 Lords, normal, difficult, nightmare. Although know that making a quick choice will allow more time to challenge the Lord. However, many people with strong abilities are still in a dilemma, especially those who are ranked at the top. On the contrary, those with average strength quickly made their choices. Most people choose the lowest difficulty level 15 ordinary Lord, such as Lu Feng. On the contrary, some rare professionals who were neither good nor bad were struggling, with their fingers constantly hovering between the normal level and the difficult level. It's no wonder they are so conflicted. There's a 200-point difference between the two. If they're not careful, they could be left far behind. But if the challenge fails, you won't get any points. Damn it! Lu Xingchi is fine, but how could I score lower than that guy Lu Feng? Wang Tianyu hesitated for a long time, gritted his teeth, and finally chose the level 15 difficult Lord. But after he made his choice, a feeling of regret welled up in his heart. During the school lecture, I specifically mentioned the 4th round of the joint entrance examination. The 18th level rare profession was the minimum threshold for challenging the difficult level. But now he is only level 17, and Wind Spirit Walker is not good at single combat. Everyone has only one chance to choose, and once a choice is made, there is no way to change it. Gao Bo did not rush to make a choice. Instead, he stared at his own shadow and fell into deep thought. Half a minute later, he slowly raised his head and finally chose the 15th level Nightmare Lord. Lu Xingchi was still staring at the selection interface in a daze. But I'm not confused, I'm just a little depressed. Why is there no Hell level Lord? Who are you looking down on? Even in the so-called most difficult level 25 Linksio copy, he can easily pass the Hell level alone. A mere level 20 Nightmare Lord is really uninteresting. Chapter 73. Ah, it seems that I overestimated the difficulty of the joint entrance examination. Lu Xingchi sighed helplessly and raised his hand to make a choice. Without any surprise, it was naturally the Nightmare Lord at level 20 with the highest score. As soon as I made the choice, my surroundings changed dramatically. The 4th round of exams is a practical test, and even the scenes are almost 100% restored. Lu Xingchi found himself on an isolated island and could even smell the salty smell of the sea water. After seeing Lu Xingchi's choice, the inspection team all sighed. Ah, as expected. Ji Chuan lowered his eyes, feeling a little regretful. Sun Qi pupils trembled, and he exclaimed, Ji! Elder Ji, look! Hearing this, Ji Chuan slowly raised his eyes and saw a scene that shocked him. I saw 100 mechanical spiders, working in unison, quickly forming an iron battle line. Hey! I finally have a chance to show off my skills. Lu Xingchi relaxed his muscles and muttered to himself. The battlefields in the first 3 levels are too small, and the mechanical spiders are completely useless. The practical test in this level is completely different, the entire island is his stage. Buzz buzz buzz. There was a slight vibration across the entire island, and huge waves rose up on the originally calm sea surface. Huge black tentacles stretched out from the sea, as if they came from the netherworld. Oh, the ability is not great, but the scene is quite big. Lu Xingchi smiled and shook his head. You know, he could fight hell ruins alone when he was at level 15. No matter how much noise this giant beast in the sky makes, its strength is no greater than that of the 8-armed demon ape, and it can only be killed in seconds. Lu Xingchi immediately opened the Eye of Truth and scanned the monster's information with his tentacles. Sky beast level, 20 strength, 18,000 intelligence, 10,000 agility, 12,000 physique, 18,000 skills, tentacle strike, water curtain shield, giant wave impact, power madness. Half a minute later, a monster that looked like an octopus slowly rose from the sea level. Its eyes are huge like a blood moon. If most candidates see them, they will probably be so scared that their legs will go weak before the fight even starts. But it couldn't scare Liu Xingchi. With such weak attributes, a slaughterer could kill him alone. Stop hesitating, fire. After such a long appearance time, Liu Xingchi had already lost his patience. As soon as the giant beast of the sky emerged from the sea, hundreds of death rays greeted it. The water curtain shield surrounding it was destroyed almost instantly. One could see a hint of doubt and fear in the enchanting bloodshot eyes of the giant beast in the sky. It had just appeared, with only its eyes showing, and had not yet had time to launch an attack. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The slaughterers don't care about the thoughts of the sky beasts, all they have in their eyes is killing. Hundreds of death rays never stopped, suppressing the enemy with overwhelming firepower. Without the protection of the water curtain shield, the sky behemoth was instantly turned into a sieve full of holes. The destructive power of the death ray is so amazing that each one can easily penetrate the huge sky beast. The thick blood bar of the sky beast is decreasing at an incredible speed. Roar! In the blink of an eye, the giant beast in the sky was riddled with holes and let out a dull howl. The power frenzy was activated, and its body was wrapped in dazzling red light, and its power attribute suddenly expanded. 8 powerful tentacles, accompanied by a hurricane, waved madly towards the island. But before they could get close, they were completely torn apart by the impenetrable firepower network. 100 mechanical spiders are like an indestructible meat grinder. Whether in quantity or quality, the gap between the two sides is too big, it is simply a dimensionality reduction attack. Not long after, the health bar of the sky curtain beast was completely emptied, and its huge body slowly sank to the bottom of the sea. From the appearance of the sky beast to its death, the whole process took less than a minute. This is because of the lengthy appearance mechanism of the sky curtain beast, otherwise Liu Xingchi could have been even faster. After the death of the sky beast, the surrounding environment returned to normal, and Liu Xingchi returned to the 4th floor of the demon suppression tower. I raised my hand and glanced at the integrator, and found that the points were still 3000. Okay, it looks like we'll have to wait until the timer is up and keep unified scores. Liu Xingchi sighed helplessly and then sat down on the ground. The 4th round of the exam is limited to 30 minutes, so it's okay to wait for a while. But he was really used to it, and he was waiting at almost every level except the 3rd one. At this moment, the surveillance hall was eerily quiet. It seemed that everyone had not yet recovered from Liu Xingchi's battle. Gurgle. Sun Qi subconsciously moved his throat and looked a little dazed. Is this kid still a human being? As the chief examiner, Ji Chuan's mouth corners were twitching slightly. That's a level 20 nightmare grade sky beast. Why is it so easy to kill an ant here with Liu Xingchi? Mr. Ji, you really got full marks. After a long time, Sun Qi came back to his senses and turned to look beside him. Ji Chuan shook his head slightly and corrected, no, the full score defined by Daxia officials is 4000 points, and he has already exceeded the full score. If the Daxia leaders knew that the trap they had spent so much time setting up was actually broken by someone, I wonder how they would feel. Sun Qi raised the corners of his mouth, as if he remembered something interesting. His eyes did not stay on Liu Xingchi for long, because this guy seemed to be sleeping again. After 4 rounds of exams, this kid spent more time sleeping than taking exams. Except for Liu Xingchi who ended the battle early, all the candidates were still fighting hard. Even though he was a legendary professional, Gao Bo felt tremendous pressure when facing a level 15 Nightmare Lord. Lightning flashed on the isolated island. He narrowly avoided the tentacles again and again, and thunder rumbled on the sea. Every time the sky curtain beast releases a skill, it will pause for a short while, and Gao Bo will take advantage of this gap to attack crazily. Under normal circumstances, the 2 examiners would have been amazed. However, after seeing Liu Xingchi's overwhelming battle scene, Gao Bo's side seemed a little ridiculous. This kid's fighting skills are pretty good, he should be able to barely pass. Ji Chuan remained expressionless and gave an objective evaluation. After about 25 minutes, many candidates had finished this round of examination. The vast majority of people had their health bars emptied, failed the challenge and were forced to withdraw from the exam. Only a very select few can kill a level 15 ordinary sky curtain beast. Phew. This exam is too difficult. I can't even break the shield of the sky beast. That was a close call, I almost failed the challenge. Damn it, I shouldn't have chosen the difficult level. Some were happy, some were sad, and the reactions of thousands of candidates varied. With the help of the Mad Blood suit, the high health bonus, and the amazing bloodthirsty special effects, Lu Feng barely killed the ordinary level Sky Beast. He is also one of the few candidates who successfully killed the Sky Beast as a basic professional. As expected, it was no surprise that he was admitted to a top university, and he could even choose a top-ranked university. In contrast, Wang Tianyu has become a typical negative example. Because of the wrong choice, he failed as expected and did not get any points in this round of exams. Just as the examiner expected, Gao Bo barely managed to kill the level 15 Nightmare Grade Sky Beast in the last minute. When the time was up, the few candidates who were still struggling were forcibly teleported back. After a brief pause, the integrator began to project the final points ranking. First place, Lu Xingchi, total score, 5,000. Second place, Gao Bo, total score, 3,850. Third place, Zhou Yiming, total score, 3,600. Fourth place, Zhao Xiao, total score, 3,530. Chapter 74. The candidates looked at the score ranking list as if petrified. It took a long time for him to come back to his senses and he couldn't help but exclaim. Am I seeing right? Master Lu got 2,000 points in this round. He actually killed a level 20 Nightmare level Sky Curtain Beast. How did he do it? This is incredible. Could this not be his limit? Everyone was talking about it, and they were all amazed at Lu Xingchi's strength. How so? Gao Bo stared at the ranking list and clenched his fists involuntarily. Since meeting this guy, his pride has been trampled on time and time again. In the observation room, the principals looked at this incredible result and were unable to react for a long time. Principal Huo Ming sighed helplessly, stood up, and left the observation room alone. In previous years when the legendary profession did not participate in the competition, he, as the principal of the number 1 high school in the provincial capital, often won the top spot in the imperial examination. This year, the legendary professional Gao Bo participated in the competition, but unexpectedly he failed to retain the top spot. But he didn't have any temper, because Lu Xingchi's strength was too terrifying. Even if all legendary professions took part in the exam, they would probably be crushed to the ground by him. Good boy, you really did it. Principal Zhang appeared calm on the surface, but he was already beaming with joy in his heart. Zhongcheng is just a small border town, but unexpectedly it won the top spot this year. From now on, Zhongcheng No. 1 High School will also receive attention, and its resources and students will become better. At the same time, the voice of the examiner Ji Chuan came again. The 4th round of exams is over. According to Daxia regulations, the top 10 candidates can enter the 5th floor of the Demon Suppression Tower. You will have the honor of seeing the monsters of the abyss. As for the rules, I won't go into details. After that, all the candidates except the top 10 in the ranking list were teleported away. With a flash of light, 10 people appeared together on the 5th floor of the Demon Suppressing Tower. As soon as he entered the 5th floor of the Demon Suppressing Tower, Lu Xingchi felt a familiar breath. This is the breath from the abyss. He had seen it once when he faced the black-robed wizard. However, that was only the aura emitted by the lowest level abyss magic crystal, which could not be compared with the real abyss monster. Looking around, it felt like being in a lava hell, with endless depression in the air. There are 10 sealed abyss monsters, scattered in all directions. It was a kind of humanoid monster that was difficult to describe, tall and burly. The skin was pitch black, the face was twisted and ugly, and the sharp fangs and scarlet eyes revealed a cruel light. The most striking thing is that they are surrounded by a strange black mist, which exudes a strong sense of oppression, making people feel fear and uneasiness. After opening the Eye of Truth, the monster's data appeared before his eyes. Abyss Servant level, 30 strength, 50,000 intelligence, 25,000 agility, 40,000 physique, 50,000 skills, bite, soul-devouring roar. There are no elite or lord marks, which means this is just an ordinary monster in the abyss. Lu Xingchi frowned slightly, looking a little solemn. Even the most common abyss monster has such outrageous attributes that it is hard to imagine how terrifying the real abyss is. This round of exams is quite interesting. The corners of Lu Xingchi's mouth rose slightly. He was originally sleepy, but now there was a glimmer of light in his eyes. I thought the joint entrance examination would be very boring, but now it seems to be an unexpected gain. He had never had the chance to fight against the monsters from the abyss, so this was a good opportunity. Bang! Xingchi raised the pure white shadow in his hand and pulled the trigger decisively. A flaming bomb exploded and spun out, accurately hitting the Abyss Demon Servant that had not yet been unsealed. Boom! The Abyss Demon Servant was not killed, but the seal balance was broken because of the explosive bomb. Not only it, the seals of the other 9 Abyss Servants also began to loosen. The Dark Abyss was overflowing with demonic energy, madly attacking the demon-suppressing seal. The violent aura made people feel terrified. Seeing this scene, everyone in the monitoring hall fell silent. Everyone looked at each other, horror written all over their faces. Doesn't this kid know the rules? This is just an Easter egg in the joint entrance examination, why did he take action? Sun Chi frowned and roared. In the early days of the demon-suppressing tower, the joint examination rules were completely different from what they are now. At that time, there was no such thing as direct admission, the joint examination allowed free team formation, and the preparation period was not as short as it is now. However, with the passage of time, the joint examination rules have been improved little by little, and the admission rules also mean that legendary professions do not need to participate in the joint examination. In order to prevent candidates from focusing on taking shortcuts, the joint examination has cancelled the team mode. Nowadays, there are only 4 rounds of joint examinations. As for the 5th level of the demon-suppressing tower, it was indeed the final test in ancient times. But now it has completely evolved into an Easter egg mechanism. The purpose is to make outstanding candidates aware of the horror of the abyss in advance and motivate them to work harder in the future. Although it is an Easter egg mechanism, the scoring mechanism is still retained. Once you pass a level, the points can be doubled. However, if you fail, your points will be halved. Regarding this point, every school lecture will mention that as long as you don't actively attack, the seal of the Abyss Demon Servant will not be lifted. Oops, I was negligent. Xingchi woke up too late. Maybe he didn't even listen to the school lectures. Ji Chuan seemed to remember something and felt vaguely guilty. If he follows the rules, he should explain the rules of the 5th level again. However, nothing has gone wrong in the past decade or so, and even if no one told anyone about it, no one would be stupid enough to attack a level 30 monster. Because of this, Ji Chuan had not mentioned anything about the 5th floor for a long time, but he never expected that an accident would happen this year. What should we do now? Sun Chi frowned. Ji Chuan lowered his eyes and said word by word, this matter has nothing to do with you. I will take full responsibility and resign. Mr. Ji, don't be so impulsive. Things are not yet irreversible. Maybe things will turn around. Sun Chi was a little excited. The chief examiner Ji Chuan is almost at retirement age, and it would be unfair for him to be punished for this. There is no hope. The strength of the Abyss Demon Servant is almost equal to that of the Hell Lord of the same level. No matter how amazing Xingchi is, he can never be their opponent. Ji Chuan shook his head and sighed. Even in ancient times, the 5th floor of the demon-suppressing tower was still a big challenge. The minimum configuration also requires that all members have legendary professions and their levels must be above level 25. Xingchi is only level 20 now, and he is alone. No matter how you look at it, he doesn't stand a chance. While the 2 examiners were arguing, unusual movements occurred on Gao Bo's side. Lord Shadow Demon, please lend me a helping hand. Gao Bo stared down at the shadow, as if talking to himself. If you look closely, you can see his shadow tremble slightly. A faint demonic aura invisible to the naked eye emanated from the black shadow and quickly disappeared. Little devil, I am not your tool. A gloomy voice suddenly floated out, like a demonic sound from outer space. Gao Bo knew that the surveillance records only contained images and could not monitor any sounds, otherwise he would not have dared to be so bold. Master Shadow Demon, if I can't become the top scholar in Central Daxia, I'm afraid I will never be able to attend the Dream Academy. This is not what you want to see, right? Gao Bo looked dim and said calmly. The Shadow Demon was silent for a long time, then he slowly spoke, I will help you this time only, and it will not happen again. Chapter 75. Thank you, Lord Shadow Demon. Gao Bo showed a smug smile, then raised his hand and released a bolt of lightning. The lightning accurately hit the Abyss Demon Servant, and the seals on the 10 monsters began to loosen slowly. The Shadow Demon's means of attack are extremely treacherous, and he can actually cause damage by eroding shadows. Judging from the surveillance footage, as long as the frequency is consistent with Gao Bo's attack, there is no sign of any abnormality. In the monitoring hall, Ben was still worried about Liu Xingchi. Unexpectedly, someone else lifted the seal of the Abyss Demon Servant, and Ji Chuan and Sun Qi completely collapsed. It's understandable that Liu Xingchi doesn't know the rules, but why does Gao Bo also follow suit and make trouble? Sun Qi couldn't help but curse. Ji Chuan also completely lost his temper and sighed, crazy, all crazy. The other 8 outstanding candidates did not touch the Abyss Demon Servant and were automatically teleported out of the Demon Suppressing Tower. As soon as he was sent out of the Demon Suppressing Tower, almost all the candidates gathered around. Everyone wanted to meet Liu Xingchi, but after looking around, no one saw him. Strange, where did Brother Liu go? Lu Feng scratched his head. Many people with quick minds thought of another possibility. Liu Shen and Gao Bo haven't come out yet, they can't be. You mean they lifted the seal on the Abyss Monster? No way? Don't they know what the 5th level means? Many people gathered together and whispered. No one expected things to turn out like this. I thought I could witness history. But if half of the points are deducted, let alone making history, I'm afraid I can't even get into a third-rate university. Lu Feng also came up and asked seriously, what's on the 5th floor? Abyss Demon Servant, whose strength is equivalent to that of a level 30 Hell Lord, there are 10 of them. Zhao Xiao did not hide anything and told everything he saw and heard. As soon as the words fell, all the candidates couldn't help but gasp. They had only heard that the 5th floor was a forbidden floor that was absolutely not allowed to be touched. But I didn't expect it to be so terrifying. The 15th level Ordinary Lord almost tortured them to death. It's hard to imagine how perverted these 10 level 30 Abyss Demon Servants are. Oh my god, wouldn't Zhou Yiming be the one getting the upper hand in the end? This year's joint examination is full of surprises. Oh, what a pity. I could have made history, but now I guess it's hard to even get into a third-rate school. The candidates couldn't help but sigh. If the challenge fails, the points will be halved, and Zhou Yiming, who is in 3rd place, can just sit back and reap the benefits. If the 5,000 points are cut in half, there will only be 2,500 points left. That's not necessarily true. Lu Feng muttered softly. He knew Liu Xingchi's character very well, and he would never do anything without certainty. Are you familiar with Liu Xingchi? Among the 8 outstanding candidates, a young man wearing gorgeous light armor stepped out. He is Zhou Yiming, who ranked 3rd in this joint examination. If it weren't for Liu Xingchi and Gao Bo, he would be the biggest dark horse in this joint entrance examination. He is my brother. I can get to where I am today thanks to him. Lu Feng replied softly. You seem to have a lot of confidence in him. Zhou Yiming raised his eyebrows slightly and murmured. Lu Feng smiled slightly and said in a serious tone, of course, Brother Liu can clear the Hell level Spirit Ruins at level 15, I believe he can definitely clear the 5th level. Hell level Spirit Ruins, are you talking about the level 25 dungeon that is said to be the most difficult? Among the tens of thousands of candidates watching, there are many people with broad knowledge. As soon as these words were spoken, the crowd became excited again. Everyone was amazed at Liu Xingchi's incredible feat, and some even suspected that he had deliberately touched the 5th level of restriction. That would be the best. I don't want to be the top scorer in this way. Zhou Yiming raised the corners of his mouth slightly and said loudly. It is an honor to be the number 1 scholar, but if he gets it in this way, he will probably become a laughing stock. On the other side, the seal of the Abyss Demon Servant was completely lifted, and he disappeared from the spot almost instantly. So fast. Liu Xingchi's heart trembled, and he immediately activated the magnetic barrier. These abyss monsters seemed to be able to sense only living things and paid no attention to the mechanical creations beside him. Ding ding ding. The dark and sharp claws kept hitting the magnetic barrier. Each blow was as heavy as a mountain, and emitted a sharp sound of metal and stone. However, an attack of this level cannot break Liu Xingchi's shield in a short time. Ouch! When the Abyss Demon Servant saw that he could not shake the magnetic barrier, he suddenly opened his bloody mouth and let out a soul-devouring roar. The magnetic barrier can withstand all attacks, including sonic attacks. Even so, Liu Xingchi found that the light of the magnetic barrier was becoming dimmer. When the Abyss Demon Servant saw that Liu Xingchi was still full of energy, a hint of confusion flashed in his scarlet eyes. Soul-devouring roar can ignore physical defense and directly attack the soul. Even the tankiest knight class would be scared to death instantly if attacked at such a close distance. Is this the strength of the Abyss monster? It's just so-so. Liu Xingchi raised his hand slightly and released another layer of magnetic energy barrier. The reason why I didn't let the mechanical creature take action for the time being is just to try the strength of the abyss monster. He thought he could find an equally powerful opponent, but it turned out that he was overthinking. However, when he thought that this was just an ordinary abyss monster, he became more excited about this so-called abyss. That's enough, you can go die now. Xingchi just snapped his fingers lightly, and a machinery factory appeared under his feet. Countless mechanical creations poured out madly, like a rolling black tide. He didn't remember the examiner mentioning the scoring rules for the 5th level, but he thought the faster the better. This time, he did not hold back at all and released all 500 mechanical creatures. Among the 500 mechanical creatures, there are 300 hunters and 200 killers. Such a huge number base almost filled up the 5th floor of the demon-suppressing tower. Kill! At a command, hundreds of mechanical hounds pounced towards the mechanical demon servants. But in the blink of an eye, the abyss demon servant was buried by the black tide of steel, and no bones were left wherever it passed. In the monitoring hall, everyone felt their hair stand on end when they saw this massive mass of mechanical creations. They seemed to have an illusion that Xingchi was the unrivaled devil. And those servants of the abyss have become small and pitiful ants. Mr. G, it seems that you don't have to resign. Sun Chi stared at the almost pitch-black screen and subconsciously moved his throat. Ji Chuan nodded blankly, and after he came to his senses, he angrily said, "It's unnecessary for me to worry about him." 10,000 points. Sun Chi looked at the real-time points ranking list and found that Xingchi's points had reached an unprecedented 10,000. There is no one before him and no one after him. Xingchi is likely to become a legend. Ji Chuan said word by word with burning eyes. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.